A very good evening, everybody. Nice to have your company wherever you're tuning in all around Australia or indeed the world across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube, the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Welcome to Monday Night Motorsport. Yes, night one of week 6. The opening term enters the second half of the campaign tonight with the Super 3 series coming to you first up. Not Super 2 as we would normally be bringing you, but instead Super 3 for Player 1 Sim Gear from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in Lexington, Ohio. And then, of course, we head to Mount Panorama, Bathurst, at the forefront of Australian motorsport events for the last week and a half. We're going to top it off with some sim racing of the GT variety, 90 minutes worth, 1/8 the race distance that we went last Sunday, and looking forward to it immensely as we bring you the AM split tonight. The first time I think we've done the AM split for 90 minutes at least around Mount Panorama, and looking forward to it immensely. Good evening, everybody. I'm Zach Gaben. Adam Lavis is here alongside me. 3.56 kilometres, the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, synonymous with an IndyCar event here each and every July. Of course, we're only a couple of weeks away now from the start of the IndyCar season. NASCAR already up and away. Formula One this weekend. MotoGP next weekend. It's alive, and well, it's a good time to be a motorsport fan. Everything firing back into life once more. The server's about to tick over into a race mode, so we'll update that weather and track information for you, and also server date and time in just a few ticks. In the meantime, let's have a look at the championship standings. We'll have a look at Super 2. No, Super 3. Yes, there we go. I was going to say, Adam Lavis throwing me a bum steer there, but that's okay. We'll go back and have a look at Super 2 at the end of the night when we have a look at the results from that race for you. James Boardman, 203 points, and buried in the pack tonight, down in position number 14 on the grid. Aaron Bryan, 180. Reese Dickerson, 161. 152 for Aidan Schultz, 144 for Dale Jeffries. So look at that. 59 points covers first through fifth. And it's a neat 60 through 6th with Troy Davidson in behind him. Jordan Ferguson, Greg Spencer, Adam Johnson and Dimitri Kolbach make up the top 10. The grid, as we have a look at that updated weather and track information for you, 3:30 in the afternoon, nice and cloudy, 53% humidity, 20 degrees the ambient, 23 on track, 3:30 in the afternoon American Eastern Standard Time as we get ready to fire. It's Sean van der Meulen on pole. And we've got Ashley alongside him on the front row. My good mate Aaron Russell on the second row alongside Sam Stride. Third row, Joe Baldwin, Aaron Bryan. Fourth row, Troy Davidson and Dale Jeffries. Fifth row, Gary Wellman and Greg Spencer. Over the page, not much else to report here, ladies and gentlemen. It's only a 19-car field tonight. Row 6 is Nigel Patton, Todd Maxfield. Row 7, Dimitri Kolbach, James Boardman. Row 8, Phil King and Sean McClure. Row 9, Michael Latta and Adam Johnson. Row 10, Pete Matson. Ready to fire. Still waiting for a few cars to join us on the grid here. Adam Lavis, good evening to you. 90 minutes around the mountain very shortly. Looking forward to that. But what's interesting here is that we get to go the distance tonight with the GTs, and we get the usual 25 minutes with the supercars. Coming back to that in just a moment. Set for a start. Away we go. A couple of cars very slow away. Look through the middle. That was Aaron Bryan with a sensational start. Aaron Russell's been swamped, and Joe Baldwin's gone up a couple of places as well. Trucker Joe up to second, took Aaron Bryan with him. They've swamped on the pole setup, and also Sam Stride, Sean van der Meulen, and also Aaron Russell have dropped terribly back through the order. Russell down 2 spots, van der Meulen from first back to 6th. It's an interesting, I didn't even get a chance to mention it, Adam. Good evening to you. The short, sharp shoot of that main straight there, it makes for a very awkward start if you're, about 5th row back, because you're around the corner and out of view, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, I'm surprised when iRacing scanned and included tracking on the service, they didn't go down the IndyCar route of using the back straight as the start line, because that's what they do in the IndyCar series. All their rolling starts down the big long back chute. But just on the finish straight, short little straight, quick little blast to a very fast turn 1.
Indeed. All right. Have a look at this. James Boardman boxed in tonight, struggling in the early stages. What can he do from 12th? This is quite extraordinary that we've seen him lead from the front in terms of the championship. He's turned up every week. He's bagged the championship points. But tonight, the form guide reading far from true. Ashley has taken the lead. He's got a 1 second advantage over Joe Baldwin, who's got Aaron Bryan for company. Sam Stride, Aaron Russell, then Sean Van der Meulen and Troy Davidson. 1:27.044. So those times will tick down a little bit. I think we'll be looking at around 3 laps every 4 minutes, which will get us 18, 19 laps if we're lucky tonight, with the splash and dash thrown in for good measure. I'll reaffirm that for you once we get an indication of what a full flying green flag lap looks like. Noting full well that you lose a little bit of time as these cars get up to speed off a standing start. But yeah, if I was a gambling man, my money would be hedged on a 19-lap race here. It's Ashley leading. And he's got control of the field. No Todd Maxfield, no Gary Wellman, no Adam Johnson on the grid tonight. Pete Matson, Pistol Pete's up 10 spots from the start. And here's a replay of it. And watch the front row just get absolutely swamped. They missed the jump. Van der Meulen and Russell. Look at Trucker Joe through the middle, and Lear went with them. Horrendous start for Van der Meulen, and he's now boxed in, unable to get away with it. Unable to find a way through. Overtaking opportunities around here don't present themselves all that freely, and Greg Spencer's just now come to pit lane. So it was the inside, the dirty side of the road for both Van der Meulen and Russell. Lear from second up to first. The outside, the racing line had front running. Here's Aaron Russell back up into fourth place now, having got by Sam Stride, my old mate from the Hunter Valley, doing great things in motorsport circles. His brother's, of course, running karting New South Wales at the moment. And they've, of course, synonymous with the Go-Karts Go corporation entity down in the Hunter Valley. 3 places in which you can go and rent a hire kart and have fun for the hell of it, including in the Hunter Valley nowadays as well. He's opened the door there as Russell. He's able to cover it off. Quite lucky that he went straight from the outside of a right-hander immediately into the switchback through the left-hander to keep Sam Stride at bay. So the field commences its 4th lap. We're 4.5 minutes in, 1:22.36 for Ashley, the time to match at the moment. So we're not at that 1 minute 20 threshold, so don't be surprised in the slightest if we fall just short of that 19 lap marker, but 18 would be good fishing. 18 would be good fishing with on the notion that at 1 minute and 20 it'd be 3 laps every 4 minutes, and if you throw 2.3 seconds at that, well, let's just round that back to 2 for the sake of it. 2 by 18 is 36. That leaves you a 24 seconds buffer, which of course we chewed up a few extra of with the standing start, which of course we'll chew up a few more with the transit through pit lane. So from that, yeah, we're looking at about an 18 lap race tonight. 19 if they're extremely lucky, but I just don't see that happening at this point. Maybe the pace in Super 2 would get us to 19. We'll have a look at that later, Greg Favell and the like. But these guys, I think 18's good fishing. 4 laps gone. Ashley leads after 5.5 minutes. You're watching Monday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. It's fairly well line astern at the moment, isn't it? Just follow the leader. It's a little bit processional for our liking, but that's, I guess, you know, you're not going to get that wheel-to-wheel, door-handle-to-door handle sort of bump and shove racing every week. We've had it on a few occasions, particularly in the Pro Sport Adam Lavis, but not every track is designed for that type of racing.
I know this is a bit of a different track to the V8 supercars.
Off goes Colbatch as well. Sorry, mate. Just going to jump in there. Colbatch has thrown it wide and lost a spot. And Nigel Patton's lost a spot to Greg Spencer too. Here it is again. Colbatch caught the grass. Threw it into the corner. The right-hander was too deep. Did well to gather it up. Sorry, mate. Continue on.
Oh yeah, it's just not really one of the normal tracks you normally see bands. It is sort of similar to some of the tracks. It's got lots of undulation, some fast sweepy corners, some slow corners. So just a matter of the boys just finding their rhythm and taking advantage of mistakes made around them.
Indeed. I'm just sharing the race across to my social platforms, folks, so excuse the little bit of noise in the background there as I do that. Michael Ladder's now off the road as well, so he's going to drop down behind Greg Spencer, but stay in front of Nigel Patton. It's Ashley leading. He's just blasted out to a 3.1 second advantage over Joe Baldwin. Aaron Bryan's third, Aaron Russell, Sam Stride and Sean Vandermeulen in fourth, fifth and sixth. So, if anything, that little train there of 4 on your screen now, or 5 now if you include Trucker, because he's got the pack closing in and bearing down on him. You just get the feeling that this pit stop window is going to be so make or break. Could be the difference between a podium finish or a minor placings result tonight. 7 3/4 minutes gone. Baldwin leads this battle for second at the moment, but it's slowly becoming a dogfight. They're backing up behind him. They've reeled him back in. He got a magnificent start, Baldwin. Up 3 spots and has stayed there. The question is, can he continue to stay there, or will one of these guys be able to topple over the top of him? We pick up Michael Ladder and that incident that I mentioned a moment ago. Looping it around on the grass. Nothing in the way of real structural damage so far tonight. All these crashes have been minor. Just slight mistakes and just spinning the car enough to bog it down and bring it almost to a stop and then continue on.
The replay thing doesn't seem to be working for some reason.
Copy that. Wouldn't be the first time, but the tech side of things has thrown a spanner in the works for you, mate. We're sure you'll get on top of that before the end of the night. It is Monday Night Motorsport. It's an extended edition, of course, with GT3 from Mount Panorama. And we are bringing you the AM split tonight. If only we had the capability of going side by side and checking in with the GT3 race, the pro races we went. We don't have the capability to do that, but we will bring you the results from it a little bit later on. Matty Dench already that far ahead in that championship. The field's going to start racing in Bathurst, and he'll be in orange before they finish. It is quite ridiculous. Greg Spencer's off the road right now and dropping down to the back of the field once more. So as soon as he starts making inroads, he tricks himself up and brings himself unstuck. Pete Matson's off the road. Maddo's off the road coming through the final sequence of corners, but he hasn't lost a spot. He's just lost a little bit of ground to Dale Jeffries, and that'll bring James Boardman a little bit closer to him. Here we go. Have a look at this for a fight. 4 of them, 4 deep. Baldwin, Bryan, Russell, Stride. Round the long sweeping right-hander that brings them onto the back straight. Yes. Always yes. Never trust a person that says no to pineapple on pizza. In answer to the question coming in on Twitch, and what in hell that has to do with motorsport, I'm not entirely sure, but yes to pineapple on pizza. And what a way to change the topic. Here's what happened to Matson. Just a gentle lock-up. But again, a minor loss. Nothing screams crunch, bang, wham tonight yet. What about you, Adam Lavis? Where do you stand with it?
Yeah, pineapple's good.
Absolutely. Actually, I must admit, you and I were exchanging stories about the weekend just gone before we got on air here. Here we go. Baldwin. I tell you what, it's close now. Baldwin doing exactly the same thing as Russell did earlier, taking that wide line, opening the invitation, extending the invitation to Aaron Bryan to have a crack, knowing full well that he'd have to go the long way round through the final corner and onto the main straight. So whether that's tactical or we're seeing a couple of different racing lines through there. It is a part of the racetrack where you can get away with it. Different horses for courses, Adam.
Indeed, yeah, there's one of those good tracks where it's right-handers into left-handers, so you think you got a move done on one corner, the next corner all of a sudden you're off on the wrong part of the track. So sometimes you got to think 3 steps forward to go 1 step backwards.
How good's this fight? And what's even more interesting now, at the 12-minute mark of this race, pit window, well and truly open. Who pulls the trigger first? Who zigs, who zags? All these questions are soon to be answered. Have a look at Aaron Russell just waiting patiently in there behind Joe Baldwin and Aaron Bryan at the moment. And also Sam Stride as well. I don't think Baldwin's necessarily backing the pack up here and holding them up. He's very much holding his own. He's very much on pace with these guys. They're all in the 123, 5, 6 and 7 range. It's just a case of no one's getting close enough to initiate an overtaking opportunity. So Baldwin's doing a good job of keeping these blokes at bay. It all come down to the start. 4.3 the margin to Ashley, bottom of screen, going through shot at the moment. 1:22.3, the best time from him thus far. We're back in the 23s. We're 9 laps in, and I think we're settling on 18 as a result of that. Yes, you did see that right, Jando. Jay Jando. That Boardman is up 5 spots, and he's flying very much under the radar tonight. A lackluster qualifying performance, to be fair, by a championship leader's standard. From 14th up to 9th, and still room to move should someone ahead of him make a mistake. The next car is 8 seconds up the road on him at the moment. I'm not sure he's going to be able to reel that in without a little bit of an assistance. But our eyes, we can hardly take them off this fight for second at the moment. Aaron Russell has made light work of Aaron Bryan. So Russell's, whilst we were away having a look at other things, Aaron Russell and the time scoreboard, I might admit, Aaron Russell, the boy from Newcastle and the number 3 tonight, has made his way up into position number 3. This is how he did it. On the inside of Sam Stride. And Aaron Bryan on that note has gone to pit lane. That was the move. Russell on Bryan. Inside first, outside to finish it off. Consolidates on the inside at the very next corner. Job done. Well played. Trademark Mid-Ohio Racing right there. Aaron Bryan, Troy Davidson to pit lane. Bryan on the jacks right now. The rest of that pack of 4 continued on for another lap. We're on lap 11. Ashley leads. Joe Baldwin, Aaron Russell, Sam Stride. 1, 2, 3 and 4 at the moment. 5 seconds now the advantage lead to Baldwin. That's important. Bryan back out on the racetrack after an 11.08 second stop. And for Davidson, it was 10.7. McClure up in position number 9 at the moment. So the point that was made in the comments there about Boardman, he's up 7 spots now. Of course, all of that will shake and stir a little bit whilst we go through the pit sequence here. So what we're seeing at the moment, those numbers aren't necessarily a fair reflection of how it'll end up because, as we know, the field is not yet cleansed. What I can tell you, as McClure goes back into 9th place there in behind Pete Matson, is that Boardman's up 7. Matson's up 11. McClure's up 7. They're the big movers of the night. And they are 7th, 8th and 9th on the racetrack. Matson's only 1.7 off Boardman. Should you have a look to the left of your screen, you'll see Boardman there. Top of shot. Bang. Matson in behind him. McClure. Well, Matson shouldn't worry too much about Boardman at the moment. Worry more so. Oh, Pete, hang on to it. Worry more so about trying to keep McClure at bay, and that probably forced the mistake. Through they go, onto the main straight. Joe Baldwin to pit lane. Russell and Stride continue on. Vermeulen as well. We're on to lap 12. McClure to the inside, to the outside, to turn 1. Baldwin's going to come out in traffic here. Matson around the outside, not going to get to Baldwin. Baldwin's got back out onto the racetrack in 7th. Best of the pit stop so far. Bryan, actually, that's interesting. Baldwin out in 10.3. Bryan in 11.08. But he's 3 seconds behind Baldwin. Great stop from Joe. It all of a sudden got very lively here. And we've got another 5 minutes of liveliness coming your way here, folks, because the pit stops will play out in that time. Kovac around at the hairpin. It's all Davidson. We're watching this live. Davidson. Got him. Up into 12. Gets by Kolbach. And that's important because Davidson has completed his stop. Kolbach has not. So a little bit more clear air there for Davidson. We're on lap 13. McClure comes to pit lane now. Boardman continues on up into 6th place. His lap times, let's have a look. 1:25.0. Now, Adam Lavis, is that just his pace or is there any merit? Oh, hello. Oh, contact Boardman and Boardman. Contact Boardman and Boardman.
Say that 3 times faster.
I was going to say, yes. Yeah. There's 2 things there. Baldwin and Boardman should not be allowed on the track next to one another at the same time for the sake of commentators trying to speak English in a pretty quick manner. And secondly, Baldwin has now completed the move on Boardman. What I'm interested in here, though, Adam, and already we're seeing it not exactly work to Boardman's favour, is that Boardman's pace on show, or is that him trying to fuel save all the way to the checkered flag? That's what I'm interested in right here and now. Because if he's trying to fuel save, it's the purpose of it's already shot because Baldwin's got through. And Baldwin has stopped, splashed, dashed, and gone.
Well, not necessarily because he wasn't in the lead at the start of the race. So he's in lane. But it's not a matter of trying to win the race all the time. Sometimes it's just a matter of getting a better position than you currently are. Obviously, winning is ideal, but sometimes that's a better reach.
Exactly. Into pit lane and out again, so that answers the question. Boardman's come in and out in 8.8 seconds. So it's not a fair reflection of trying to fuel save. It's just the general pace. Matson's come in and out in 10.3 as well. They are 2 of the bigger movers of the night as far as this field is concerned. Rear, Russell, Stride continue on. Russell's got 1.7 on Stride now. Van der Meulen's another 4.3 down the road. Now, that's interesting too because we've got Phil King and Troy Davidson on screen here at the moment, the 8th and 9th place battle. But what we're looking at is Aaron's put room on Stride. Van der Meulen had a magnificent qualifying run, but has had a shocker of a race and just can't go with those guys at the front. He's now come to pit lane, hoping to pull a rabbit out of the hat now. 5 minutes to go. Lear, Russell and Stride are due on pit road any tick of the clock, you would imagine. They're on lap 15. They're halfway through lap 15. Van der Meulen out in 11.0 and comes out behind Baldwin and Bryan. But yes, this field has really spread out in the last few minutes. Unfortunately so. Leaders are on pit road. Lear, Russell and Stride. They make their way down pit road right now. And this is where the race will be decided, I fear. Lear's gone before the boys even hit their pit box. 7.7 seconds. That's ridiculous. Russell out in 7.4. Stride out in 7.9. That battle resumes. And here comes Baldwin and Bryan. So Sam Stride might be under a bit of pressure here, but nobody else is. Baldwin's within a second. Have race control had a look at the incident for Joe Baldwin? I'm not sure with James Baldwin. I think because it might have been redressed on the spot, they won't really act on it. It hasn't really hampered either one's progress. There wasn't really an invoice attached to it. 3 minutes to go, and that should mean 2 laps at the line. We'll just have a look at this now. It should be, well and truly 2 laps at the line, given the pace of this race. We're not even close to finishing lap 16, and you'd have to be completing that by now to get a 19th lap, but he's not going to do that. So 2 laps at the line, very little in the way of overtime tonight on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Night 1 of week 6 in term 1 of 2024. We're bringing you the Super 3 race from Baldwin jams it down the inside. Joe, have a crack, son. Trucker down the inside. He's now on the outside, the dirty side of the real estate, onto the main straight. This battle rages on. This is the battle for third. It's Baldwin up around the outside and Stride to turn 1. Stride fighting back on the inside. Joe wants to hang tough. He'll be on the inside for the next corner. Stride's got it across to cover him off. And here comes Aaron Bryan as well. Oh, it livened up in a matter of seconds, didn't it? Stride's under the pump. He's got a rear view mirror full of Joe Baldwin and Aaron Bryan to contend with a lap and a half to go. Down the back straight. Stride is third. Is his position on the podium in any sort of jeopardy here? Can he withstand the pressure and hold Baldwin off? And if something was to happen between these two, Aaron Bryan could be the lucky 2-for-1 beneficiary here. Right on board with him, probably the best seat in the house at the moment. We've got GT3 racing from the mountain very shortly for you. In the meantime, have a look at this. The pressure is on. It's the only battle on the racetrack. There are 16 drivers still in this race, and this is the only live battle we can bring you. Last sequence of corners, main straight, white flag in the air. Here comes Bryan. Stride's got a bit of a buffer. Baldwin didn't get a great run. So instead of attacking Stride now, he's probably got to be more worried about Aaron Bryan as Joe Baldwin. Down they go. 38 seconds on the clock. Ashley is led from the start. Hasn't looked troubled. Can Stride keep Baldwin at bay? Off goes James Boardman. Boardman's gone off. Boardman now has to contend with Pete Matson on the final lap to hold 9th place there, and Matson 10th. Baldwin down the inside. Baldwin down the inside. Stride tried to close the door and managed to do so. Baldwin around the outside. Stride didn't get a very good run. Bobbled it. Got a little bit squirrely, but somehow did enough to hold on. Did enough to keep Baldwin at bay, but the pressure mounts more. Here comes Bryan as well. Baldwin jams it down the inside. Can he get down the inside? No, he can't. Stride is going to get this done, I think. Last turn, checkered flag. Ashley leads from the start to the finish. Converted the whole shot into a race win. After starting second, he led to turn 1 and didn't look back. Second to Aaron Russell. Stride's going to hold Baldwin and Bryan off. So even though it was incredibly exciting and action-packed, not a single bloody thing changed. 3, 4, and 5 in the final 2 laps. Whew. If that's any indication, sorry, that's just me popping a water bottle open. If that's any indication, because I need to lubricate the tonsils after that workout they got, unexpectedly so. If that's any indication as to what we're in for when we get to the mountains of the GT3 M race, it's going to be a good night of Monday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Adam Lavis, what a way to start the downhill run to the checkered flag in turn 1. 5 weeks down, 5 to go. These guys now, the first race of that second half of the opening term, have set the standard for everybody else to follow this week. That was good.
That was a big send by Joe there on that last lap. And very lucky to pull it up because that's one of the harder corners on the track to get. I think this might be it. Oh no, that's earlier on.
Ashley, that was magnificent from him. It just led from the front.
it's very easy to lock a brake in there, and he's managed to get it pulled up and go side by side.
And good awareness as well from Stride. There were a couple of moments there where I'm sure Stride would have had to have just realigned his racing line. He's approached a few different corners there just to allow racing room and allow the battle to continue on. So well done to all three of them. And Aaron Bryan just played the patient game, waited for it to blow up in smoke. It didn't. He's still waiting. And, yeah, really good racing from those three men. And they finished 3, 4, and 5. And they've provided some great entertainment for us, no doubt about that. We might, sorry to interrupt your gentleman's conversation there, Tim Nicol and Stephen Varga. We brought you into the main booth. We'll have a look at the results from Super 2 in just a moment. Here's the results from Super 3, which was the race we were covering tonight. I want to get the thoughts of you two, though, on Mid-Ohio, so stay there with me. Ashley from Aaron Russell by 9 seconds. Sam Stride was third, 13 seconds down the line. Just holding off Joe Baldwin and Aaron Bryan, then Sean Vandermeulen. And yeah, I mean, really, unfortunately, it went belly up at the start. He bogged it down. He lost 5 spots, and there was no coming back from that. Troy Davidson was 7th. Dale Jeffries, James Boardman, the championship leader, 45 seconds down the road in 9th place, but up 5 spots. Pete Matson, the biggest mover of the night, up 9 spots into 10th. Phil King, Sean McClure, Dimitri Kolbach, Greg Spencer, and Michael Ladder and Nigel Patton made up the finishing order. The last 3 of them are lap down. Whoa, boy, there we go. Adam Lavis will have the results of the Super 2 race up on your screen as soon as he can get them, ladies and gentlemen. In the meantime, I will go to Stephen Varga and Tim Nicol on cue, actually. Beautifully done from Adam Lavis. I was going to go to Joe Baldwin, then I saw the results sheet on the screen. Timmy, well done. 3-second victory over Stephen Varga, Damien Cairns, Sean Hart, Michael Angus. Good to see Athletics Australia's finest in the server tonight. Didn't realise he'd joined the club. Alan Gill, Chris Stark, then of course Leith McClellan, Michael Fraser, Greg Brooks, Brandon Griffiths, and Blake Fitz. Only 12 in the field. That leaves a lot to be desired, let me tell you. As for my comment regarding Michael Angus, I'm assuming that he's either renewed his membership or just signed up, one or the other. So great to see some new names popping up on the grid, and great to see that in the absence of Greg Favell, you two blokes, Tim Nicol and Stephen Varga, good evening to you, were able to step up and go 1-2. Tim, start with you. It must be nice to have a W in the column.
Yeah, good evening, Zach. Nah, it's nice. It's we raced on this track only just recently in the other vet series, and the setup that Greg did, it just gelled straight away, and yeah, it was nice to, I think I did a bit more practice than Vargs, but it was nice to have a nice comfortable win. Actually, it was a pole and a win is unusual for me. A little bit nervous actually, bloody at the start, but no, good stuff. It was good. Bit more battles would have been nice, but a win's a win.
Have a look at Pistol Pete aiming for self-promotion, Adam Lavis. If we can go and have a look at his start, please. At some point, have a look at Matson's start. The comment coming from Pete Matson. Magnificent. Although that being said, Trucker, yours was all right as well, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Stand on by. Hey, Stephen, second, well done. Just get a comment from both you blokes. Firstly, to you, Bugs, because we've already heard from Tim Nicol. Well done on the second. A good points haul there. Yep, small depleted field, but first pace the same as it does on any other given week. You've got to be in it to win it, and you guys went 1-2 tonight. Just talk me through your thoughts of the 25 minutes and racing Mid-Ohio at large.
It wasn't too bad. Thanks for the welcome, by the way. Yeah, it was good. Very tricky track for overtaking. Not that I was ever in the spot to do the overtake on Tim, but I think the track scared a lot of people off, being such a tight track. But it was a good track. It was a good race, though.
Well, we noticed that in our Super 3 coverage as well, boys. It's not necessarily a circuit that lends itself to great racing, but not every circuit has that benefit and has that advantage or that entertainment, factor. From your personal standpoint, you've already said that the track might have deterred a few people, but in saying that, the only way to win championships is to turn up and just play with the cards you dealt. In this case, Mid-Ohio was dished up as the venue for round 6, and you got to make the best of a bad situation in some cases.
Yeah, that's right. I do have a question for you. I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask anyway. I managed to have an off track at the end of the race.
At the end of the race after the checkered flag?
After the checkered flag, I went off at turn 1 because I wasn't concentrating.
Adam Lavis?
He was getting a drink.
Adam Lavis, judge of fact?
Yeah, I can confirm. You'll get your bonus points, but the incident point will still stay in your record, though.
Yes.
But I will get bonus points?
Yes,
yeah, I can check and see if that was the case, and it is, so I can give you the bonus points.
Yes.
There you go. Good news for the boy up north.
Yes, no, and it is a good track though, Zach. Like, it's very easy to make a mistake on this track. It's a rear bias, driving it off the rears. It doesn't take much to lose it over one of the crests. So yeah, it's hard to overtake, but you've got to be switched on all the time. And at some point in time, it feels like you have this moment of old man syndrome. I'd have, where it's like, what track am I on? What corner am I? Oh shit!
Yep.
Yeah, but no, it's good.
I'm hearing you. In saying that as well, I mean, there are so many different things we could talk about here, but I mean, let's be perfectly honest. This is one of those ones that we're happy to put in the rear view mirror and press on from. In saying that, though, what about your split in terms of the wheel-to-wheel racing? Was there a lot of it or very little? Because what we noticed in Super 3 is that, with the exception of 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and we'll get to Joe on that in a moment, everybody else had spread out, and it was basically an elongated time trial for the blokes that weren't in a battle for much of the night.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much our case. I think that was pretty much our case. I mean, there was Tim, Damien, myself, and Sean Hart, I think it is, following. Yep. I think the other guys were pretty much basically time trialing at the end. The only time we came across traffic was when we pitted a bit earlier, and we had Fitzgerald.
Fitzy.
Yeah. Fitzy in front.
I'll pay him later.
But besides that, I don't think we saw anyone else.
No, exactly. Which is, I guess, when you only have a field of 12, that was always a risk associated with the affair. Get your thoughts on what's next, boys. Let's remind everybody of the schedule for the rest of the campaign. And we go from Mid-Ohio to Barber next week. So we're in the middle of a 4-week swing through America, and we rack up all the circuits that the IndyCar series will visit throughout the course of this season at one point or another, from Mid-Ohio to Barber, and that will be a good race.
Yeah. I'm looking. I'm looking forward to it. I sometimes some of these tracks I have to remember which one it is. Barber's good. Undulations on Barber, so another one where you'll be peeping over the crest to make sure that you got the right line. But good fun.
Yeah, that'll be extremely difficult not to get an off track on.
Yeah, exactly right. Before the checkered flag, let alone after. Yes. Gentlemen, well done. 6 weeks down, 4 to go. Bring on next week. Adam, are we broadcasting the Pro split again next week, or the Super 2 split, or are we sticking with Super 3?
Possibly both if we merge the splits.
Well,
there was talk we were going to try and merge this week, but we ran out of time to get all the stuff done to get you guys into splits and get you all on the right server. So we'll probably get it done for next week.
All right, excellent. That's a win for all concerned, I'd say. More cars out on the racetrack, better spectacle, and more for the commentator to keep an eye on as well, rather than straying off topic. Boys, thank you. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Good luck for the rest of the week. Absolutely. And looking forward to it immensely. Trucker,
yes.
Blinder of a start, and then managed to hold on to it for the most part. The exception being that you had a couple of guys get by you in the closing stages, but on strategy and on track. But from the start right through to the finish, you were in blistering form tonight, just narrowly missing out on a podium. But what a fight to the checkered flag between you guys, 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
That was a hell of a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I kind of buggered myself up by pitting as early as I did. I came out behind, and no disrespect to him, but I came out behind James Boardman. He would have been on old tyres, and I don't know how good he is, but with the fresh tyres, it just held me up enough that those two guys jumped me in that pit cycle. So, but those last probably 4 or 5 laps, I don't know if you guys seen it. Once Sam Stride came out of the pits, I got the red mist on, and I did everything I could to get by him, but it was fantastic racing. I absolutely enjoyed it.
Indeed. Your thoughts on Mid-Ohio as a racetrack?
Great for go-karts.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, it's a really technical track. You spend a lot of it off throttle and like mixing between trail braking and just rolling the throttle in the corners to keep the car stable. There's a lot of technique into this place, and with a car as difficult as these are, I don't know what sort of times I were doing in the pro split.
No.
But I think I managed 22.6 or somewhere around there, which was the fastest lap I've done all week. So, I'll just go away from that race with a smile. I might have missed the podium, but I was certainly happy with the way the race panned out.
Absolutely, and so you should be. I mean, up one on where you started. In fact, actually, here's the stat of the night for you. Sean Vandermeulen lost 5 places, went from first back to 6th, did it all on the opening lap. Everyone around him, +1, +1, +1, +1, +1. So no variance, just everybody up +1. The way it panned out, it was a little bit different before the pit stops, but the way it panned out after. Everybody thanks Sean Vandermeulen for their +1 tonight. Let's bring in Chris Stark at this point in time. Hello, Starky. Nice to have you on board. Mid-Ohio, not exactly the most positive and life-affirming racetrack we've ever been to in terms of the quality of racing, but you got to be in it to win it.
Our split was really good. We had 12 or 13 cars, and it was really clean, fast racing. There's only a couple of people made mistakes, but no, it was really good.
You have been in discussions with Joe and Adam and the rest of the committee about merging the splits for the next 4 rounds of the season, and that'll liven things up even more.
Yeah, I think so. How many was in the lower split?
19.
We had 16 starters. So we had 3 non-starters. No Todd Maxfield, no Gary Wellman, no Adam Johnson. So 12 and 19's 31. Definitely within the realms of possibility.
It's hard to say because Greg Favell took the night off. Jaden was at TAFE, so he missed it. There's a couple of people that missed it for
Greg Favell taking the night off was a nice leg up for everybody else.
Yeah, Tim Nicol creamed us. His best lap was a 1:21.8.
It wasn't much faster than what Ashley Lear in our split did. He did a 22.359.
Just Lear was in the wrong split.
A 23.3.
Lear's actually meant to be in Super 2.
Okay. So a 23.3 would have put you about 5th or 6th fastest in our split.
So just explain to our viewers at home, Adam, what that means now as far as points distribution and everything else is concerned.
Well, he still gets the points in this race, but when it doesn't count towards the Super 3 Championship, it counts towards Super 2, which means you only earn half the points towards the Super 2 Championship.
Yep. So what happens to the Super 2 drivers? The Super 3 drivers. Do they get given first, second, third, etc., or not?
No, the race results still stand as is.
No, okay. All right. Copy that.
If it's a one-off, if someone doing it constantly and ignoring us, then we start disqualifying him. Then.
Yep, copy that. The only reason I asked is because our mate Trucker would have had a podium if that was the case. So that was the only reason I was asking. Starkey, your thoughts on what's coming up? Barber next week, and I take it you've got something else you want to add to that?
Yeah, be cautious about combining the splits at Barber because there was enough here now for 28 cars. If you bring a couple of the boys back that are fly-in, fly-out workers or aren't going to miss around, we might be upwards of 35 cars at Barber Motorsport, which it could probably handle, but it'll be interesting.
Absolutely, it could handle. Whether the commentary box would be able to handle it. The odd voice box got a workout courtesy of the 3-way fight for third in the last 2 laps. Thank you, Joe. On that note, Trucker, I believe the Mountain Men boys had an open wheel affair on Saturday night, did they not?
We did, yeah. We ran around up there in the Formula Ford, and of course, Mr. Hot Lap Merritt come up there and absolutely towed us all up. But it was a great race. We had a lot of fun. So the Saturday nights is gaining traction again. We've gone back to league only. They're not open servers anymore. A lot of the guys, I think, either had hangovers from the 12-hour or were still partaking in the 12-hour, so they didn't actually join us. But the guys that were there had a great night.
And there was some conversation doing the rounds last week that they might aim to stitch you up at some point, considering you do look after the both the server and car allocations. They said that we need to try and find cars that you don't like and find a way to, manipulate it so that you've got to race something you don't like for change.
To be fair, Jay was stitching himself up pretty much all right on Saturday night.
I was, yeah.
TCR.
I had a
TCR.
bit of a run.
TCR.
TCR, yeah. Well, I can absolutely put TCRs in there. I'm not against it, but I think I might be doing something that night. That's all.
You might be sick. Yep,
I just shared the results from Split 1 if you're interested in having a look. Tim Nicol won it, Stephen Varga in second.
You're already a little bit late to the party.
You
Mr.
done it already?
Because
Okay.
we've already spoken to Mr. Nicol and Mr. Varga.
We were just watching. Greg Brooks decided to give everyone a head start off the start. He tried to take off in N for nowhere.
Right.
Most of the cars were around turn 1 before he figured it out.
Oh dear.
Oh,
dear.
no.
Poor old Brooks, he can't take a trick. Hey, on that note, Joe, I don't think I've asked you about Barber. What are your thoughts?
Barber is a fantastic car with little open wheel cars. I think these big lumbering supercars are probably going to be a lot like Mid-Ohio, actually. It's going to be a lot of off-throttle. Trail braking is going to be important. Staying online, you get offline a little bit, and you're going to be in the grass there. The Barber's punishing if you touch the grass.
Yeah, but
you always end up at the fence.
I actually thought he was giving us a description of the skip Barber there for a moment, and then he straightened up. So
No, the track. Yeah.
With the recent iRacing changes to the grass and the dirt, it shouldn't be as bad as the past, where if you do go off the grass, hit the fence. There's a chance to recover.
Probably right.
I feel as though I'm obliged to ask one of you to go and test the theory for me next week.
Brooks is doing it right now.
Oh, good. Excellent. Can always rely on Brooks.
He's out there testing it right now.
All right. On that note, enjoy the rest of the night, gentlemen, and thanks for stopping on by to have a chat to us. Anything else to add before I let you go?
No, have a great night. I'm feeling a lot better now.
Oh, that's the main thing. I was going to say you sounded as well, Star.
Yeah, I got a bit more energy, so I enjoyed that race. I got up to 8, so I was pretty happy.
Good boy. Excellent. Inside
All right, guys, have a good night.
Go for it, Starkey. Go well, mate. Thank you. Joe, what's next for you, please?
I'm actually in the GT3 server. I did one lap before I come in here and had a yap, and I think I'm in like 17th at the moment. So I might get out and do a couple of laps and try and improve that position.
He's not the biggest fan of GT3s in the world, but it is Bathurst after all,
It
ladies
is
and gentlemen.
Bathurst.
And we're looking forward to it. All right, mate. We'll let you go and do that. Feel free to check in at the end of the race and have a chat to us then.
Certainly will. Thanks, mate.
There he is, Trucker Joe Baldwin. Very nicely done on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, where we do it with thanks to the great people scrolling across the bottom of your screen. And on that note, actually, Trucker saw himself out and saw himself back in again. We'll get to him off there in just a moment. Waste Options, Sprite Insider, Player One Sim Gear, Lobesy Racing, M-Wave Australia, and Flash Graphics. Could not do it without them. We thank them for their invalued, ongoing, continued support of the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, where you're watching live and exclusive coverage of Monday Night Motorsport. It is night 1 of week 6 of term 1 in 2024. Leg 1 of the doubleheader done. We go on an AM night, in every sense of the word, from Super 3 to the AM split of GT3 for Waste Options to Mount Panorama for the first of the 2 90-minute enduros attached to this half of the campaign. On the other side of this, hope you can stay with us. Okay, very good evening once again, everybody. Sorry for the delay in transmission there. I was having a lovely conversation with Adam Lavis, but apparently not with everybody else. Right, I can't even remember what I was saying. So let's just deal with what's on screen there. This is round 6 of the Waste Options GT3 AM series. It's Mount Panorama Bathurst. It's a 90-minute race. It's the first of 2 90-minute races we've got for you in the second half of the campaign. That's the circuit. That's the playground. We know it. We love it. It's synonymous with some of the great history of Australian and world motorsport. William Yarwood leads this championship at the moment. He probably won't be on the grid tonight. He's on his way back from Adelaide, the bloke. After round 1 of the Australian Karting Championship, 160 points. Philip Butler, 146. Scott Wooden on 133. So too Adam Chiplin. Adam Hennessy's on 113. Chris Mack, 109. And then everybody else is outside of that 100-point range there. They're below 100. Benjamin Lavender, Dean Eldridge, Liam Amos, and Jake Karolowski make up the top 10. It's an enormous grid. Let me run through it. February 25, 2024, 3:32 in the afternoon. 38 degrees. Is that ambient? Track temperature, Adam? Is that 38? Yep. And 21 degrees the ambient temperature at the moment. 35% humidity, 19km/h winds. Hopefully that's a tailwind. Sean Hart and Caleb Dawson the front row. Michael Angus, Matt Schmidt the second. Bradley Curtin, Tom Williams the third. David Kirby, Philip Butler the fourth. And Daniel Piper and Adam Holland the fifth. Good to see Kirby back in the server as well. Ben Lavender, Scott Wooden the sixth. Jake Karolowski and James Frencone the seventh. Nick Fodiatis and Andrew Neal the eighth. Adam Johnson, Adam Hennessy the 9th, Pete Matson, and also in 20th place there is Christopher McDonald. Row 11, Jordan Ferguson, Adam Chiplin, Joe Baldwin, Warren Ibert. Joe Baldwin hasn't lined up on the grid as the rest of the field makes their way up behind the safety car. Nora Sean Vandermeulen and Brett Campbell's opted to start from pit lane. 12th row, alongside the vacant patch left by Joe is Warren Ibert, then Brett Bradbury, Scott Jordanson, then Kurt Nomanson and Neil Gladwin, James Baldwin and Rick Jones take us back to 30th. Can we go back any further than that? Yes, we can. Brett Campbell, Greg Spencer, Nigel Patton, Tristan Koch, Michael Ladder, and Sean McClure. Just 34 starters for this one. We're ready to rock and roll from Mount Panorama Bathurst. It is Waste Options GT3 AM for you on a Monday night on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, on a place that we've seen far too much of in the last 11 or 12 days. And I'll get back to my views on that a little bit later on. Last turn, main straight, green flag in the air. We're racing to sunset at Mount Panorama. Let's go. Great start from Sean Hart. Converts cleanly off the line towards the first quarter. Already some squabbling for position going on further back. Nick Fodiatis has made a good start in the Ford GT. It's out there tonight. How good's that? Now, that's the other exciting thing is Brett Campbell, Tom Williams and Joe Baldwin join us from pit lane. 35th, 34th and 36th, they are those gentlemen. They have joined us from pit lane. Sean Van der Meulen's a non-starter, but we've got 36 out there on the racetrack now. The other piece of good news, unlike last week's Ford manufacturer love affair that we had in GT3 Pro, every single manufacturer, albeit with only one representative for Lambo and one representative for Ford and McLaren, every single manufacturer is represented on this grid tonight. Jeez, that was close to the wall from Philip Butler as they stretch across the mountain for the first time. This place is revered right around the world. It's public road when it's not closed off 5 times a year for car racing. Not that you can call Challenge Bathurst racing, but whatever. As they make their way down the hill for the first time. It's a circuit that's unforgiving. If you don't respect it, it will punish you. And it's a circuit that has not only delivered some of the greatest moments in world motorsport, it's a circuit that has tamed even the best of them. No one is immune to wearing the brunt of this place if they get it wrong. Down they go, to the chase for the first time. Sean Hart, Caleb Dawson, Michael Angus in third place. Now I'm excited, actually. I'm excited and a little bit confused as well. Philip Butler down the outside. He's going to get hung out to dry there. Philip Butler passed by David Kirby and about to be passed by Daniel Piper down on the inside to Murray's. So Philip Butler has dropped a couple of spots on the opening lap. Back to where he started in 8th. Sean Hart leads us across the line, 2:04.7, 3/10 clear of Dawson, Angus, Schmidtke, Curtin and Kirby. There are 5 Ferraris in the top 10 at the moment, as well as a Lambo, an Audi, a Mercedes, I should say, a Porsche and a BMW. So we've got 6 different manufacturers in the top 10, but 5 of the cars in the top 10 are Ferraris. So let that one sink in for a moment. We are watching the Ferrari Cup with a few invited class cars, I'd say. Out of Griffins for the second time. The run up towards the cutting. This is a part of the circuit that has been on the replay reel far too much in the last week and a half. The BMW got it wrong last weekend in the 12-hour, and the weekend just gone, Super2 turned it into a parking lot across the top for the second time. We're heading for a finish time in excess of 6:30 Eastern Daylight Time here. We should point out, I'm suffering a little bit of shock tonight, Adam Lavis, because I'm watching Michael Angus and David Kirby in GT3 racing. 2 blokes that would normally be synonymous, as I don't know if you can hear it at home, but I've just got the Amberley Air Base, the RAF base flying overhead at my house at the moment. Normally 2 blokes I'd only associate with supercars. They're having a run in GT3. Good to see them expanding their horizons and their iRacing outtake. Good. Greg Brooks, good evening to you. Yes. Maybe Nick Fodiatis was right. Maybe there is too much Bathurst going on at the moment, because not only did we have the real world 12-hour last week and the supercars there and their associated categories over the weekend just gone, the iRacing 12-hour was also on. So we have been absolutely saturated with Bathurst content in the last week and a half. And as far as I'm concerned, as much as I love the place, I'm not going there this year. I'm not going to the 6-hour. I'll speak about that at the end of the show. And I'll speak about it on radio on Saturday because I didn't get the chance last week. There's a couple of other things that I want to mention at the bottom of the broadcast. But as far as I'm concerned, they can take Bathurst and they can take Taylor Swift and they can disappear because that's all I've seen in my newsfeed the last 2 weeks or so. And that's something that I was saying off air before Adam Davis realised that he needed to put me on. So 5 minutes into this thing, the Ferrari's holding sway. Matt Schmidtke in the Lambo keeping them honest. We've got Scott Wooden on screen at the moment in the Audi. But yes, the Ferrari Cup once again in GT3 and Adam Davis.
Hey, the Ferrari is a very popular car amongst the drivers. Nice, seems to be very So kind of like the new Mercedes, nice and easy to drive for the guys who like the rear engine cars. So it's been a very popular choice.
It has been, but I can't wait to see what BOP updates normally come up in the next couple of weeks, don't they? Cannot wait to see.
Yeah, be next Tuesday.
Yeah, cannot wait to see what that does to shake things up, just stir things up for the last 3 weeks of the campaign. Now, the timing screen there, the totem pole on the left-hand side of your screen, shows that we're on lap 3. The pace is around that 2:04 marker. 15.4s make 60, so if we run on 2:04 pace, or 2:05, actually, let's say 2:05 even, ladies and gentlemen, because we're closer to 2:05 than we are 2:04. If you look at that pace at the moment on screen there, 12.5s are 60, so every 12 laps is going to be about 25 minutes. So that would be 36 laps in 75. Matt Schmidtke's coming into pit lane. That's certainly early. What the hell's going on there? Matt Schmidtke on pit road. Very, very early for my liking. We are heading for what we would suspect would be somewhere in the vicinity of 43 laps tonight for these cars, even with 3 transits of pit lane. I would suspect 43. Depends on the pace. If they can maintain 2:04, 2:05, 43, who knows? I might be wrong. It might be 42. It's usually 44 for GT3 Pro. They can usually belt that extra lap out. Basically, 44 by 2 is 88. And then that leaves you with the 2 minutes of pit lane transit times and the buffer for any of those laps that aren't close enough to that time lapse that you get from not being a 2-minute lap time. So that overrun of 2 or 3 seconds, whatever it might be. But it's 2:04s. It seems to be a comfortable pace for these guys at the moment. So I'm leaning towards that 43 marker for their race distance. 7.5 minutes gone. We're watching James Frencone running what looks to be almost a Parramatta Eels inspired livery. It is. I only just realised that. Have a look at the bloody big head of the eel on the side of that car. Clearly happy with their trial win yesterday against the Gold Coast Titans at the North Ipswich Reserve. I was in attendance. Great afternoon at the footy. Biggest crowd the Jets will play in front of this year, most likely, in the curtain raiser. Sean Hart leads Caleb Dawson, Michael Angus, Bradley Curtin. Frencone down in 13th in the Ferrari, all over the back of Jake Karlovsky like a cheap suit, and Eels bite. So Karlovsky's happy for him to go to the inside and see his way by. Very nicely done. Frencone to 12th. There are battles raging all around this racetrack at the moment. Frencone looked to dive back down on the inside and then thought better of it. So, yeah, an interesting start. Everybody just easing into things here, settling into a rhythm. Extended edition of Monday Night Motorsport for you on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. Andrew Neil has come unstuck at turn 1, put a few wheels in the dirt. He's okay, but he's about to be reeled in by the pack. He's about to be reeled in by Frencone, Karlovsky, Hennessy and McDonald, and this is why. Look at the buffer he had. He had 10, 11, 12 car lengths on them, 2 deep into Hell Corner. And unfortunately, just lost a lot of pace, washed a lot of pace off through the grass on the exit. Getting back onto the track. Round we go, into the wall. One of the Mercs, I think it was. Adam, I lost the graphics there, mate. I didn't be able to tell you who that was. Copy. So, one of the Bimmers, Rick Jones. So we've had a few pit stops already. Matt Schmidtke's out of business. I think, has Schmidtke had packet loss? Or... because he's only showing us 3.33, which is a remarkable... He's somewhere up around the cutting, up towards the top of the mountain, if he's at 3.33. Normally, if he was in pit lane and fast escaping from there, he would be showing us around number, either 3.99 or 4.01. But yes, Schmidtke out of business. Jones is back out on the racetrack. Fodiatis is down in 34th position, but he's the first of those two have stopped. And a lot of drivers actually stopped around lap 2, lap 3, lap 4. Greg Spencer on 2, Sean McClure at lap 4, lap 3 for Nick Fodiatis, Rick Jones, and Matt Schmidtke. But we know Schmidtke's done for the night with what we suspect is packet loss. Might not be the only one at the moment. Our time system's struggling to keep up here. That's why you've lost graphics on screen. Schmidtke. Well, I made it back into the threes. I'm just seeing a comment pop up on the screen, but he didn't start with race fuel. He didn't start with race fuel, so that was part of his problem. And, yeah, the old fast escape button for him. Sean Hart, Caleb Dawson. 1 and 2 in this car race. There they are on screen. As they head back towards the top of Mount Panorama. We've got Caleb Dawson in second place. Michael Angus third, just ahead of Bradley Curtin, the first of the Mercs. David Kirby, Daniel Piper in a Porsche. Not yet, anyway. Apparently this... Sorry, Adam. Copy. Around they come onto the main straight. Hart, Dawson, Angus, Curtin. 1, 2, 3, 4. 15 minutes gone. A race in 4 at the front. And then 4.8 back to David Kirby, who's got Piper, Holland, and Butler behind him. It's just before this erupts any further, Adam Lavis. One observation I was making partway through the point before Dawson and Hart got it out of shape here at this particular corner 2 minutes ago look at the guys that have stopped already. Sean McCall's in the pit lane and out again. Has been off twice already into pit road, so that's certainly unscheduled for him. He can make it 3 times now because he's on the tow rope and on pit road, and I think that might be him parked up and done for the night. Yes, we have our second of the time. Sean McCall is done. But even before that, Rick Jones, Nick Photiadis, both stopping on lap 3. Now, if I'm right, and we are only going 43 laps tonight, that's 3 easy 10-lap stints, 13, 23, 33, top up the tank and get home. They're on the exact opposite strategy to what our front runners will be.
Well, you know, Nick likes to do things differently. So he mainly would have just wanted to get out of the traffic and get some clear track because he qualified down in the mid-pack there. So he's really just doing a reverse strat to try and get himself some clean air and gain track position that way. Yeah, apologies for the sound thing, but I had to go to a different page on my on Streamlabs to get the refresh the graphics, and what the audience didn't see is I used a split screen function. So Zach was seeing that, but when I came back, he went to the wrong page. He didn't get back to the broadcast page. He went to the setup page. That's why there was no sound. But I've got that fixed, so we're back up running.
Gotcha. Thank you. Yeah, it's not like I'm slacking off here, folks. Twice tonight I could have left the post and no one would have known, but nevertheless. Across the top, Sean McClure, that's why his night's come to an end. Curb at Skyline. And curb off Skyline. Clout, concrete, gone. See you later. That's a big hit too. And that car is crabbing its way down the hill. She's a write-off. Hart leads Dawson second. Angus and Curtin, look at that. Unrelenting pace at the top end of the tree. Racing towards the pit window. Jordan Ferguson has already got to the pit window. He's in the lane now. I thought for a moment Dawson fancied his chances of going for the lead. First 3 remain where they started. Curtin up 1, Kirby up 2. Piper and Holland up 3 apiece. Utlow remains where he started despite jumping early, up 2 spots. He lost them at the end of the opening lap. Scott Wooden's up 3, Ben Lavender's up 1, and Andrew Neal's up 5 spots. That takes you back to 11th. Adam Hennessy and Chris McDonough up 4 and 5 apiece. Pete Matson up 3. They're 14th, 15th and 16th. Warren Ibert in 18th place is up 6 spots. James Portman from 29th to 19th already up 10 spots. And Kurt Nommensen up 7 spots early in the piece. Don't read too much into that just yet. It's only an early indicator as to where the pace lies, because some of that info is a little bit lopsided by virtue of the fact that we've got so many cars yet to complete their first round of stops and so many different strategies playing out in front of us at the moment as well. Adam Hennessy, 14th right now. Sean Hart, Caleb Dawson, Michael Angus and Bradley Curtin. David Kirby is 5th. Daniel Piper is 6th and Adam Holland is 7th. It's 4 Ferraris in the top 5. It's 6 in the top 10. 2 Porsches, an Audi, a Bimmer, a Mercedes. Down Conroy one more time. And Dawson's as close as he's been all night. 0.25 of a second away. I thought for a moment he wanted to get the elbows out and go racing. He's opted not to. He's opted to tuck back in, even despite a couple of early opportunities, invitations being given to him by Sean Hart. He's opted to just tuck in and follow the leader for now. 9 laps gone. We're on the cusp of pit stops here at Mount Panorama. Sean Hart, Caleb Dawson, Michael Angus and Bradley Curtin, 1, 2, 3 and 4. David Kirby is 5th. Daniel Piper, Adam Holland, Philip Butler. Take us back to 8th. We'll have a look at some of the battles happening further down the field shortly, but we'll stick with this battle for the moment because the first round of pit stops is going to be interesting to see who zigs and zags in the way of strategy, who opts to get a little bit shorter. Because if it is a 3-stop race, I don't think that there's any way they can wriggle different to Matt Schmidtke confirming what we already knew, that the internet dropped out. If it is a 4-stop race, they've got plenty in the way of wriggle room in terms, because I don't think it's going to be a 3-stopper based on the early numbers from Brett Campbell well, more specifically, Nick Fodiatis, Rick Jones, and Jordan Ferguson. 3, 3, and 8. Those guys tells me that we're in a 4-stopper here tonight. Where we get to with these guys and their pit stops will confirm it. If they go 10 laps, if they can stretch it out to 11, 3 stops is doable. 11, 22, and 33. But it gives you no wriggle room, no variance, no way of spicing up your strategy. If it's 10, 20, 30, 40. If it's 10 and then... Oh, here we go. Big send. Bradley Curtin and Michael Angus. The first real shot's fired at the top end of the tree. Curtin to the inside. Kirby's gone off at the cutting. At the chase, rather. Curtin gets down the inside. Displaces Angus. Kirby's got back on the racetrack. Maintains 5th. 2:04.638 for Sean Hart, the fastest lap of the race. It's all happening at Mount Panorama. These guys make it to lap 11. So that now makes me question the strategic game plan and play of those that stopped early. Was it deliberate? Was it intentional? Or was it needed? Was it because of incident or damage? We'll wait and see. Philip Butler comes to pit lane at the end of lap 10. So if you can go 10, 11 laps, you've got to go 10, 11, 11, 11. 11, 10, 11, 11, 11, 11, 10, 11, 11, 11, 11, 10. Right? Anyone that stopped earlier than that, they've got a far bigger window to work with because they're four-stopping it, so therefore their numbers are all out. So forgive me, because I'm a little bit sceptical at the moment as to why those guys have stopped so early. And I was wondering if that meant that the rest of the field was going to be running a 4-stop as well, because that would have greatly shaken things up in the way of how these guys could have gone about their strategy play. Which brings me back to one of the criticisms I had of last week's 12-hour, the real-world one, the way in which it's been over-regulated with maximum driving laps and this sort of garbage. It just it takes out the strategic man's game. It takes out that thinking. It takes out that little bit of intrigue, I guess, Adam Labors.
Well, my theory is a lot of guys will probably pit this lap, but I would assume they still have a half lap of fuel on board. So if they're a little bit, just saved a little bit here and there in that first stint, they could probably make 12 laps of stint.
Okay, that's interesting too, because that would definitely get them home on 3 stops. Through they come again. Nick Fodiatis has joined us very early in the piece, even though he's actually in the race at the moment and still out there. I was starting to wonder exactly why you were jumping in, Nick, but you're actually out there still, so you're joining us from the track, which is good to see. I'm going to let you get through the cutting and get across the top of the mountain before I get any words from you. I want you to be able to concentrate on what's going on out there. Magnificent to see the Ford having a whirl. Obviously, you're one of only a very few that have given it the time of day. There he is on screen, ladies and gentlemen, running a different strategy to everybody else, having stopped on lap 3. He's down 15 spots on where he started, running around 30th at the moment. Sean Hart, Caleb Dawson, Bradley Curtin, Michael Angus, in fact, the entire field right the way down to 18th, 19th even. And Joe Baldwin in 20th, because he started from pit lane, have gone on for another lap. Top 24 have decided to go around again to get to lap 12. So that poses the question to Nick Fodiatis as he makes it to Conrod Straight. And we haven't had any in-car reporting for a while, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. Good evening to you, mate. Just talk us through, A, why the Ford, and B, why the strategy play of stopping on lap 3.
Good evening, Zach. I do apologise if there's interference. I got the fans going full tilt in here and the air conditioning in the Ford GT. Why not? No one else is driving it, and it's going to be replaced soon enough, I dare say, by the Mustang GT3. So the Beta Ladders Ford it is.
Very nicely done. Would it be rude of me to ask you to take us for a lap here?
Not at all. I'm just going to get to your second question, though. I decided to parallel park it at the elbow and
that's why.
20-odd something people go past me. I'm sure Adam will find that on the replay, I think lap 3 or so. And yeah, I then had a busted wheel and tried to go through the chase and had to pit, and that was that.
All right, just very
Plus, I'm
quickly,
by myself,
lead change. Caleb Dawson is got by Sean Hart at the chase. Caleb Dawson leads this race. And these two are going on again. Lap 13. Hart back down the inside. Hart gets by. Dawson slots back into second, and these guys have got the elbows out at Mount Panorama, and back down the inside comes Dawson to turn one. Hart tried to jam the door shut on the inside. Oh, magnificent wheel-to-wheel racing for the lead here in GT3M. Magnificent stuff. How about it? That's how close it is. Mountain straight. Dawson to the outside with the advantage. Hart to the inside with the racing line. I'm coming back to you, Nick. Don't worry. Dawson around the outside. Definite contact there. Hart makes the corner his and tells Dawson to get back in line. Oh, what about that? Shots fired at the front end of town. We'll go back to Nick when he gets back to the line. We might have to hold off, actually. We might have pit stops at the end of this lap. I can't believe they're doing the lap 13, to be honest with you.
I've got a 65-litre tank and I'm doing 3.5 litres a lap, so it's about 18, I believe.
Oh, wow, that long a stint. Yeah, righto. Adam Lavis, are the fuel tanks, etc., different to GT Pro per se? Is there different rules in place? Not getting anything from Adam Lavis at the moment. He might be able to give us some clarification in just a tick or so, because if it is 18 laps, that's going to make it a two-stopper.
Yeah, we were talking about it. It should be a two-stop.
Yeah,
okay.
Adam. I did. Oh, hang on.
Educate me.
Yeah. So I changed the fuel for the Enduro, so now it's a two-stop race for the Enduro. So it was trying to make them a three-stop, it was too marginal.
Okay, copy that. All right, so that does mix things up in terms of strategy. I'll get back to that in a moment. And that means if these guys are going longer, we will definitely go for a ride with Nick in the Ford GT at the start of the next lap. He is partway through this lap, going up towards the cutting as we speak. In the meantime, our leaders come back to the line. We've got an incident here for Pete Matson, pistol. Uh-oh. Curb coming up onto the main straight.
No, it's just the internet spike.
The run, a little bit of an internet issue, and he's okay. So 16th place for him at the moment, +3. And this is what happened to Nick on the opening lap. Adam has found it, going down the inside. Oh dear. Unlucky. Yeah, well, as soon as you lead the fish to water, as they say, by telling him where and when, that was easy enough for him to find.
Yeah, fair enough.
Short Hart, Caleb Dawson, they've gapped Bradley Curtin and Michael Angus, but they still follow in close tow. David Kirby's 6 seconds back. Now, that's even more interesting too, because if it is 18 of 18, then anyone stopping now, they're already varying their numbers in terms of their stint length. 28 minutes gone in a 1 hour and 30-minute race. And if Nick's saying 18 laps, that's going to be the better part of 37, 38 minutes of racing.
We worked it out to be about 156 litres.
Copy that. There's your fuel drop requirements tonight. So Adam Hennessy is down in 28th place at the moment in pit lane.
So it's going to be some short stops at the end.
All right, let's go to Nick and go for a lap of Mount Panorama. He's coming on a main straight right now.
All right, braking for Hell Corner about the 75 metres. Second gear, try and get to the apex, and then back out. Now, I take a different line to a lot of people. I stick along this white line on the right-hand side here. Track's not really used on this side, so generally it's cooler in iRacing. Cooler track temps, that is. Over the hump. Stuck in 5th gear. Brake just after the 100. 3rd gear. Turn 2. Aim for the pedigree sign. Almost get it. Into the cutting. 2nd gear. Steepest part of the track. Get on the power nice and early. Watch the hump here over the right-hander. Up to Fujitsu here. Short shift. Now in these GT cars, you got a lot of downforce. It's almost flat out through here. Through Reed Park, I refuse to call it what Neil Crompton calls it. It's not its name. McPhillamy Park, just a slight lift, same deal. Back on it for Skyline, doing about 220. Into the dipper. Through the S's, past Chaz Mustard's corner, into the elbow. don't spin here because you lose 20 positions. Back on it, down the straight. The hard part done, now the easy bit.
Yeah, exactly. The hard part done, indeed. So
well, I mean, during the 12 hour, I had people flashing me across the top. It's like, well, unless you're stupidly fast, there's nowhere really to let you go. Just wait till the straights.
Exactly.
Third gear into the chase here. Wave to all the fans, family in the hotel, and then to the last corner.
Very nicely done. Here he is on the brakes. Onto the main straight, and a very nicely driven lap of Mount Panorama from our own Nick Fodiatis. It's been a while since you've done that, but it's almost as though you don't forget those sorts of things and how to operate and how to do them. It's kind of like second nature to walking after so long. There's James Boardman having a spin in the cutting whilst we're watching Nick do that. And, yep, very nicely done. Now, on the subject of the 12-hour throughout the course of the weekend, how did you and the rest of the Bailey's boys fare, please?
Sorry. Yeah, we started 37th out of like 45, and we ended up starting from pit lane. I wasn't around, I was at work. Mr. Wood, Paul Wood that is, took the car off from the start. I jumped in third. I had one of our other founding members of Aussie Races, Robert, there. He did the second stint, and then Adam, when he was finished at work, jumped in and he did some mega stints at the end there. So from, I guess, 43rd or 45th, wherever we started, we just kept progressing forward to the point where we finished 9th.
It's always interesting this time of year, particularly more so this year. Nick, we talk about the saturation of places like Bathurst and Ride America, particularly you're very vocal about it on our servers. I feel as though we've got a bit of Bathurst fatigue going on after the last 10 days.
Yep. I only watched yesterday because Chaz was in the lead, so I even said it in our group chat. I said, we're kind of over this. We've done 1,000 laps collectively. There was a 12-hour last weekend. Why are we watching this again? Like, I don't think it was a smart move by Supercars, but
no.
Apparently they know better.
How well, yeah, not really. We're talking about the same mob that got the Wiggles to headline their entertainment over the course of the weekend. Anyway,
I mean, how good's Jack Perkins in pit lane? That's really good.
That is true. Perkins is a good fit in there, actually. I will give you that much.
Just get rid of an M scaife at the top and we're good.
Agreed. Now, while we talk about it, other things that are happening in iRacing world, maybe not necessarily for the open wheel cars yet, but certainly for the GTs. Rain is on the way, mate. Oh, hang on, coming back to you. Curtin Omenson has had a big one at the top of the mountain. He's had a moment where he's met the concrete and that car is crabbing its way back to an early retirement. Bradley Curtin jumps from the third place in this motor race and has gone to pit lane. Caleb Dawson came in at the end of lap 14 whilst we were riding with Nick. So two of our leaders have zigged while Sean Hart and Michael Angus have zagged, and Hart's lead has gone out to 2.8 seconds as he punches out the fastest lap of the race at 2:04.532. That's Ben Lavender coming to pit lane right now as well. It's all happening here on a Monday night. David Kirby goes up into third, takes Daniel Piper with him, Adam Holland, Jake Karlovsky, James Francone, and Adam Johnson, Pete Matson, also Joe Baldwin, Warren Ibert, Scott Jordanson, Neil Gladwin, and Adam Chiplin, all yet to stop. We are on lap number 17 around Mount Panorama. We've got 34 minutes in the book. It's great to have your company as we bring you Monday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Nick, your thoughts on rain and how it's going to spice things up?
Yeah, it's going to be good. The IMSA cars, the GT3 cars have got it. It's at the 86, Formula Ford and Formula 4, so it's going to be good. Indeed. Especially with IMSA stuff and multi-class, or multiple cars, I should say.
And what do you reckon's next for GT3 racing? Obviously, the excitement surrounds when iRacing decided to drop the Ford Mustang, but I still feel as though there's a couple of other manufacturers they could entertain the thought of just yet.
Yeah, I can't think of any at the top of my head. I know, maybe GM might put the Corvette in, get it from GTE spec to GT3 spec, but I can't think of any others at the moment.
That's true. There's a fair bit of air activity tonight, gentlemen. The Amberley Air Base is back in business for 2024. I haven't heard a single plane go over once in the last few months, and now all of a sudden there's been about 3 or 4 in the space of an hour and a half in this
air show.
Yeah. It's all coming up very shortly, I believe. So 35 and a half minutes gone. 2:04.499 for Sean Hart. We right on board with Joe Baldwin to Conrod Straight one more time around. Pete Matson's gone up into 9th place, up 10 spots on where he started as well. Kurt Rock's headset beeping as I try to go up out of the cutting was just too awkward. So Kurt's unfortunately parked up for the night on the back of that exit that you saw on replay there a few moments ago. In come Adam Johnson and Pete Matson right on cue. There's plenty happening here at Mount Panorama. Hart, Angus, Kirby, Piper and Holland go to lap 18. But what we've got now, boys, is enough in the way of variety in terms of where the strategy numbers are, and that should ensure that we're not all stopping at the same lap to pit to get home to the checkered flags. So that makes it exciting enough to be intriguing for us to stick around for the 90 minutes here. If you're sitting on the couch and you're wondering, is it worth sticking around for? I think we've got enough ingredients there to say yes right now.
It's going to be much like yesterday's race. Some people might take a bit more fuel in the first stop and very little in the second, but you want to be able to cover off your tyres as well. I'm stuck going flat out and having to put all the fuel in. But anyway.
Yes, yeah, exactly. As far as that, how many times have you acquainted yourself with the Ford GT over the years, Nick?
Oh, God. Be a couple times. I've done it. I've been on board.
Oh, trouble! Big trouble! Andrew Neil, contact on the run into Griffin's Bend and in the wall. He wasn't the only one. There were 2 cars in that incident. I missed who the other one was.
Maddo's.
Oh, Maddo's involved. Uh-oh.
Someone's trying to do a U-turn.
Yep. Maddo's being caught up in that and in the wall as well. Crunch goes the Merc. Sean Hart, Michael Angus to pit lane. And I don't really know if that move was on for Neil to come across. We'll need another look at that, I'm sure. Jordan Ferguson in 19th continues on. The leaders, with the exception of Daniel Piper, are in at the end of lap 18. Piper continues on to lap 19. And we were talking about how little we'd seen in the way of big incidents so far tonight when we were bringing the supercar race earlier. The GT boys have certainly fixed that. James Frencone gets to 19 as well. So there we go. So a little bit of a change. Normally when we talk about the 90-minute races, we're looking at 3 stoppers. With the change in...
I just pinned it at the dipper.
Oh, no. Come on, Nick. Hopefully not assisted and not blocking the racetrack. We'll have a look at that in a moment. Nigel Patton in 21st. I'm coming back to you in a moment, mate. Pit lane very busy right now. Adam Holland, Jake Karlovsky, Warren Ibert, Adam Chiplin and Neil Gladwin. 15-second penalty for Andrew Neil for the contact on Pete Matson. That seems more than enough because that was hefty contact. The move that we don't think was on in the first place. There's Michael Angus in 5th place at the moment. So Dawson leads Hart, 5.4 seconds. Now, what's interesting here is the variance. Adam Lavis, I might let you pick this apart while I catch my breath here. I'll let you pick this apart because obviously you've informed us partway through the race here that we've changed things up with the way in which the fuel limits have been distributed for the 60-minute races compared to the 90-minute races. We're now taking more fuel in the 90-minute races to make it a 2-stop, not a 3-stop. They're little things that you can manipulate in the settings for the servers. But now we've got a real difference between a full fuel and a partial fuel. And looking at the numbers there for the pit stop, 22, 27, 20, 25, 6, 27, there's a fair degree of variance in terms of what drivers have opted for in terms of the fuel they've taken on board for these opening stints as Daniel Piper comes to pit lane.
Yeah, but also another thing too is some of the boys who did the race on the weekend, the 12-hour, maybe not as effective with that one, but the guys who are regular to the series would know normally with the 42% fuel limit, it's just a bit short to get to do all 4 tyres at once and put the fuel in. It takes a bit longer for tyres. Now with the endurance fuel up to 65%, you can easily cover the tyres and fuel at the same time. So these guys who think their tyres are okay at this point probably would have taken a short fuel now, and then they'll do their big fuel later in the race because then they can do tyres at the same time and have fresh rubber at the end.
Copy that. Yeah, actually, it'll be interesting when we do our debrief post-race to see what drivers have opted for with regards to tyres and the like. As we say, there's not as much of an invoice to pay for them these days as there used to be. Caleb Dawson, Sean Hart, Daniel Piper, Michael Angus. So that order has been shaken and stirred a little bit. Joe Baldwin in pit lane right now, his first stop of the night. It's interesting too because Daniel Piper went for a short fuel. Michael Angus went for a decent fuel load, 20.65 seconds. So Piper, Angus and Curtin are still all jammed together, 3, 4 and 5 on the racetrack. Piper up 6 spots, actually, on where he started. Kirby's dropped back down to the 6th place. Well clear of Philip Butler, Adam Pollard. Ben Lavender's got Scott Wooden and Adam Johnson for company. That's the battle we're watching on screen at the moment. Jake Karlowski, Chris McDonald and James Frencombe back to 14th. Our mates Nick Fodiatis, I'm just having a look. Have you got back out onto the racetrack, Nick? Yes, you have,
Yep.
but you're on the tow rope for a little bit, I see.
Just come out.
So you've got the stop times on the screen there. So mid to low 20 seem to be the popular choice. Oh, a bit of a mistake there from Red Car. It might be a little bit broken. He's running up the wall. He's recovered now. As you can see, yeah, so you got mid to low 20s seem to be the most popular, which is about the tyre stop. Tyres take about 21 seconds. So if your fuel covers that 21 seconds, you're good to go. But then you get the guys who are filled up to the brim. That's where we get close to the 30 seconds. And then poor old Adam Hennessy, he's obviously copped some sort of pit infringement with a 1 minute and 5 second stop.
Down Conrod again. Pete Matson in traffic back out there on the racetrack now. So those incidents and a couple of other factors have also resulted in people all the way down to Michael Latter now being a lap down in this car race. Caleb Dawson on lap 21, 2:04.314, blistering pace that time around. He's on lap 21.
And he has jumped Hart in the pits and got a 5 second lead.
Yeah, exactly.
Which also about 5 seconds exactly how much more fuel Sean took.
Exactly. So Dawson we expect in the lane well before Sean. There's no doubt about that. Just going down and having a look,
Daniel Piper, though,
7 for Dawson, and I just want to clarify this all the way down to 19.58 for Tristan. Yeah, everybody else beyond that. 26 cars still on the lead lap.
So Daniel's definitely got the reverse straight here. He only put 14 litres in that stop, which has jumped him straight up into third. But he's going to have a much bigger invoice the next stop for everyone else. So he needs to make hay while the sun shines out with this clear track.
Has anyone come unstuck at the crest there tonight? We haven't seen too many cars go exit stage right in the S's yet tonight. I don't want to put the marker on it, but we normally see that quite regularly.
Yeah, we had it was Michael Latter earlier on, had the big pinball down the hill.
That's right.
But yeah, it's not as treacherous in these cars. It can, if you overheat your rear tyres, it can be sketchy. It's more in the Cup car. Yeah, that's a big issue there.
Yes, absolutely. Do we bring the Porsches here this season? No. And that was what happened to Nick earlier. Adam Lavis has found the replay of that.
Too hot.
Yep. Just a little
Gotta
bit.
get the gears.
Out. But this is the good thing about you, Nick. You're out there. You're just enjoying the leisurely cruise, the stroll around that this is. You're not rage quitting or anything like that. You'll see this through to the checkered flag if you can.
Team motto, got to get to the end.
Exactly.
I'm 5 positions up the scoring. When someone dies or whatever.
Pete Matson's just been served up again at the cutting. Pete's a pinball tonight. Pete is a pinball. On the tow rope and in pit lane again after a minute. James Boardman's been there for 7 minutes now. Kurt's opted out after being in there for 7 minutes himself. His night's done. So the rate of attrition's high. Matt Schmidtke, Sean McClure, Brett Bradbury, Greg Spencer, Kurt Nomanson. Remembering that 75% of 43 will be 33 laps. Let's just round that up and call it for what it is.
That's why you got to keep going.
These guys, exactly. Anyone that's out there at the moment in the top 25, Tristan Koch, actually, I missed that Tristan's in the Lambo as well, not just Matt Schmidtke. My apologies for that. So we still do have Lambo representation out there. We still have Ford, we still have McLaren. We've still got all 8 manufacturers in this field that started the race represented in some way, shape or form, even though there are 2 Mercs on pit road at the moment. But if they end up anywhere in the vicinity of 11 laps down, they may as well just park up for the night. They'll be done. Curtin and Angus getting desperately close to Piper right now. This is exciting. Oh, jeez. Piper hanging it loose, kissing the grass on the exit of the chase. Curtin tries the outside. Angus tries the inside, then tucks back in. Can Curtin get the up and under on Piper? No, he can't. Piper got across to cover it off. 3, 4, 5 at the moment.
Penalty for a car taking Pete out.
Yep, that was Jake Karlovsky. And Pete, unfortunately, having been the pinball twice tonight, and there he is on screen coming back out into the race as well. And his night's essentially done now. He is further down than you are, Nick, at the moment. You're at the end of lap 21. He's only at the start of it. And, yeah, it's now just a case of going through the motions and picking up whatever points you may be able to at the end here. We're past half race distance. We're on lap 23, 47 and a half minutes gone. Dawson, Hart, Piper, Curtin, Angus, Kirby Butler, Holland, Johnson and Wood in the top 10. Good run from Daniel Piper, up 6 positions so far, but he has gone a very short fuel compared to everybody else around him. So he's running to a different number, dancing to a different tune here. And Jake Karlovsky, this was the move. Jeez. That was all Super 2, wasn't it? That was Super 2 written all over it, that move into the cutting. It was a shocker from Karlovsky. And twice tonight, those that have taken Pete out have worn the wrap of race control because, here we go. Curtains open up the door for Michael Angus. It's given Piper breathing space. It's given Piper good breathing space. Curtin and Angus side by side down Conrod. Angus will have the inside run if he can. I'll get back to you in a moment, Nick. Whoa! Contact at the chase! That's incredible! More so, the contact didn't lead to a catastrophic incident, and they got away with it. But to be side by side, door handle to door handle, NASCAR style, at 300 clicks, going into the fastest corner in Australian motorsport, wow! We'll have to have a look at that again.
I think Curtin's going to need an extra pair of jocks at the pit stop.
Oh, yeah. Have a look at this. Door handle to door handle. Michael Angus on the outside trying to get by Curtin on the inside. Whoa! Curtin was trying to come across to cover it off. Angus's nose was marginally already there. Down the inside. Could not get across quick enough to close that off. And look at this from the onboard. Whoa! Had to grab the wheel once, twice to correct it. And gather it up. Well done. Both men still running, but how different a story that could have been if the contact was any more severe. So, Pete's trying the white flag. Did I hear you say correctly, Nick?
Yes, he has.
Yeah, and
I mean, with your opinion,
I can understand that. He's 2 laps down, and he's been taken out twice. There was no grey area on that one. It was plain black and white, as evidenced by race control slamming both drivers with penalties. Poor old Pete's been on the raw end of the stick tonight.
Well, just
Michael Angus and Bradley Curtin, that was a redressed, no further action call from race control as well. Sorry, Nick, go on.
I was just saying, from Pete's perspective, it just sucks the fun out of it, right? Absolutely. You just want to be in there and have a bit of competition, and you don't want to be taken out.
Good to see him back on deck as well. Wasn't he overseas recently on a work assignment?
I think so.
Yeah. Dawson Hart, 4.4 the margin. And the last time around, 204.7 for Dawson, 204.5. Sorry, 204.6 for Hart, 205.3 for Piper, 206.9 for Curtin, 206.1 for Angus. But that hairy moment contributed to to them slowing one another down there. 5.3 and 6.3 last time around for Curtin and Angus respectively. And part of that comes back to the redress on Angus's part. Kirby, Butler, Holland, Johnson and Wood in the top 10. You're watching Lavender in 13. Down the inside of Karlovsky. No, not close enough.
So just hoping, just having a little personal thought to myself. I hope when we get to the talk to the pro guys after this race, I really hope Denchi hasn't tried to save 10 minutes of fuel per stint to try and one-stop this thing.
If anyone could do it, no, that would be a very tough save. There's no doubt about that. Which brings me to the point that we were making last week, Nick. And I'll get your thoughts in on this as well, because we know that you will fuel save if there is merit in doing so. But I feel as though there's some drivers out here that would benefit more from not necessarily trying to fuel save, but trying to maximise their pace and just take that second drop of fuel anyway. Because
exactly.
in some instances, you pay more of a price in the long run and reap no reward whatsoever, no benefit whatsoever from the fuel save strap.
Well, I mean, I know you're asking me because I run out quite often when I do try it. So, yeah, it's got to balance the books, right? You can't rob Peter to pay Paul. There's somewhere you got to pay it back. So, whether it be lost lap speed and not going through pit lane, but I mean, you got to factor in how long's pit lane and how long's your stop, and if it's worth it, you know, losing that time in lap speed. So, I always just tried to do something different. Hence why I'm in the foot.
Yes. I love it.
I'm just closing in on 14th, 15th and 16th here, and I got my teammate closing in on me, so I'm going to have to let him pass at some point.
Absolutely. There's Michael Angus in 4th place at the moment, keeping Bradley Curtin honest. And what a moment it was for those two. That might actually be the moment of the night. Angus having a solid run in the Ferrari. So too's his mate, David Kirby. 12 seconds down the road. On a different strat, though. Angus only stopped for 20 seconds last time round. Kirby for 27. Dawson and Hart, lap 26. Dawson due before Hart on fuel numbers. And this battle will be sorted out in pit lane as well, because Curtin should be mathematically ahead of Angus on corrected order. Tom Williams and also Ben Lavender to pit lane. It's a hard balancing act, Nick, isn't it? Because if you're so in the zone and so in the moment of applying that strategy to every single... Oh, Curtin with a big moment at the top of the hill. Jeez, he did well to gather that up. He did well to save that. My goodness, that was close. Because some people, that just becomes, you know, their racecraft 101. That's their tactic. That's they paint everything with the same brush. But we've watched this caper long enough now to know that doesn't apply. As we saw tonight at Mid-Ohio, not necessarily a great racetrack, so you've got to reinvent the wheel with how you go about it. Same with fuel strap.
Well, that's why I missed Mid-Ohio. It's not the best on big, heavy cars around there, so I thought I'll give that a miss and give this a try. We've done a million laps around here anyway.
And on the toe, right. Sorry, mate. Keep going.
I'm just going through the dipper.
And Rick Jones has come unstuck in the dipper. You might have actually passed. Actually, no, he got on the tow rub, I think, before you got there. So that's unfortunate. And Jones will join the long list of retirements now.
He's just quit
in this race. So we are down to 28. Nick being the last one on the racetrack, and the better part of a lap and a half down our mate at the moment. Michael Ladder also. Tristan Koch about to go a lap down, so to Nigel Patton. Ben Lavender in 19th. And we've just seen Jordan Ferguson come to pit lane now as well. So a fair bit happening out there. It's Dawson, Hart, Piper, Angus and Curtin. 3 Ferraris, a Porsche and a Merc in the top 5. Get down closer towards 10th, and you've got a Bimmer and an Audi in there for good measure as well. So 5 Ferraris, 2 Porsches, an Audi, a Bimmer, and a Merc in the top 10. And Philip Butler is blinky build.
My teammate just rounded me up. He's in 15th at the moment.
And having an okay run. He's, when you say teammate, do you mean Trucker?
Correct. Yeah, he was having
he's
a whinge about the car
because
setup.
Jordan Ferguson being in pit lane. Sorry, continue on.
He was having a whinge about the car setup and missing the start, and and look at him go. He's faster than me, and
he's having
doing a really solid job.
Yeah. He's having a clean run. It's good to see.
I gotta say, Adam Johnston having a stellar run into the top 10. He's really improved his pace recently in the club. So good to see him having a good run.
Absolutely.
He did good on Saturday as well.
Must be nice to have a steer of a GT3 car every now and then, Nick. Normally we associate you with GT4, mate.
Yeah, a little bit more downforce, a little bit more horsepower always doesn't go astray. I just like, I'm going through a bit of a phase where I like it in the Ford GT again, so I thought, I'll give it a go. We did BMWs for the whole team across the Bathurst 12-hour weekend, so I thought, try something different.
Yeah, actually, I'm a little bit surprised, boys, at the lack of BMW presence on this grid, to be fair.
Yeah, everybody else in my team has stayed with the BMWs. I think they're in the other split. But everybody who's whinging about car balance, like it's not where it was across the weekend. It's completely changed again. So, yeah, we'll see what they say after the race.
Is that anything that is that a difference between internal settings, Adam, and iRacing settings for the real world, for their equivalent of the real world 12-hour?
Not too sure.
I think wind's different.
Oh, the wind might be a different direction. It could be. That's just a matter of changing your brake points and utility points. But yeah, the temperature-wise, there or thereabouts. It started off relatively cooler than annoying, but we got up into the I think it was like 52 or 53 was the peak temperature got during the race in 12 hours. So at some point during the race, it was definitely hot and cold points. I think we got to the low 30s by the end again. So it was, the 30s seem to be a really good. Once you're in the 30s, it's all good. If you're in the 20s, it's just happy hour.
So just to give you a quick update, Zach, the Bailey Ladders Aussie races entered 3 cars.
Yep.
And the Saturday morning one, the red car of Josh Sawino, Trent Lavis, and Dave Christensen crashed out in the first hour. The blue car of Gary Cousins, John O'Hill, and Michael Hammond, they finished, where they finished? 11th? 2/10 off 10th, so they were almost in the top 10. And then my car of myself, Adam Lavis, Robert Isles, and Paul Wood, we finished 9th.
And then
the red team had another crack 12 hours later.
They did exactly what me, Matto, and Dales did. So they crashed out in the first race, and bugger would do the next race, and they went in the one thing by 2 laps.
Good boys. Good boys. Excellent. Now, Philip Butler's come to pit lane, boys, so this technically should be the start of the second round of pit stops and the fuel to the run home, or for the run home, I should say. As far as the real world and SimWorld 12 hours being on back-to-back weekends is concerned, they normally actually happen the other way around, but not this year because of the the SimWorld Daytona 500s. I do believe that was part of the scheduling at iRacing then with their major events, etc. Now, interesting to note, the NASCAR finished this morning. If you haven't already seen it,
oh, how good was that?
How magnificent was that? That was doing the rounds all through socials this afternoon. Nice reprieve from Taylor Swift and Erebus. Very good to see some door-to-door NASCAR racing on a circuit that is only 1.5 mile of it, plays like a restrictor plate venue like a Daytona or a Talladega. More of that, please. If there was more of that, we'd watch NASCAR more regularly. I can't wait for the road course races a little bit later on. Car off at Hell Corner as well in the background. And on that note, well done to SVG yesterday, third in the Xfinity Series race as well. James Boardman on pit road has been there for 22.5 minutes. He's 11 laps down now, so he may as well just park it up and forget it because he's not going to be classified. Still 28 cars out there. There are 3, 4, 5 of them are lap down at the moment. And therefore, that leaves 21 on the lead lap by my numbers. No, sorry, 23 on the lead lap by my numbers. And there are 25 points paying positions available out there. So the last of those is Nigel Patton at the moment.
I just need 2 more spots.
You just need 2 more people to crash and burn in the next short while, mate. Yes.
That?
Yes.
I'm in 27th at the moment.
But,
sorry, 28.
But without a safety car, you're not getting that lap back, I wouldn't imagine. So
no.
It's going to be, Warren Ibert had a blinky bill and then ended up down the road at Hell Corner. That's what happened to Warren. And then lost the front end as he was reversing back out onto the racetrack. And there he is coming out into the dipper. Back to Scott Jordanson now. In 19th place, he's got Andrew Neal and Jordan Ferguson for company. Neal's already got an invoice to pay tonight after the incident with Pete Matson earlier in the piece. And Warren Ibert's off the track again too. So it's all going belly up for him right now. We are 1 hour and 2 minutes and 30 seconds into the race, 27.5 to go. Past 2/3 race distance, almost at 3/4. Neal on the brakes, hard to the chase. We're past 5:30 Eastern Daylight Time server time. We're heading to a post 6:30 finish here at Mount Panorama. Hope you're enjoying Monday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. By gee, it's good to have GT3 racing back here on our platforms in the virtual world. Week 6, night 1, term 1. Delivering the goods. But it's not over yet. Hart is now 4 seconds off Dawson. So Hart's second stint has been impressive because Dawson's lead at the start of the stint was in excess of 5 seconds. It's now inside 4. 2:04.261, just shot that to pieces. Caleb Dawson smashes out the fastest number of the night. They're not in the 3s yet, but they're very close, and that was very close as well. Neal all over the back of the car in front, Jordanson like a cheap suit. Nearly into the rear end.
Pretty sure there was a small touch there too. Just unsettled him. He almost lost the spot to Jordan.
Dawson Hart and nearly threw it away. And now they're going to go side by side through Reed Park. That's ridiculous. Neal pulls off one of the moves of the night, and it was cleanly done. Neal up to 19th. That's insane. He's now got clear air. He needed to get out of there before Jordanson took them both out. Adam Holland at pit lane from 9th. There's been some impressive performances tonight. We'll pick that all apart for you a little bit later on. Michael Ladder back on pit road right now as well. Fodiatis is 27th, down 12 on where he started. Look at that for a move from Andrew Neal. But yes, as I say, a lap down. He needs to ride his luck with a couple of drivers either dropping out or crashing out between now and then if he's just secured points tonight. And the pace of this race has been full on, full tilt from the start. No safety cars, which is really good to see. We we try not to, if we can help it, deploy the safety car around here. It's a long lap behind the safety car. Actually, gentlemen, while I've got you, what do you think of their trial and error with the full course yellow system across the course of the 12-hour, please? And by which I mean supercars, real world.
I
didn't know much about it. I don't remember seeing anything like that. I know it was on.
I did see they used it, but I was just skimming through the supercars last night before bed, so I didn't get to watch the whole thing.
Probably that. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with it being deployed in supercars, to be honest with you. I like it more for endurance racing than sprint racing, and I speak from personal experience because, as you know, Nick, they used to have a similar system in place at QR.
Oh, yes, yeah. Look, works well around the Nürburgring.
True.
And Le Mans.
It is good for certain situations, but like you got the safety car still needs to be one of your tools for when there is a reason for it.
Bradley Curtin's in too, by the way, boys. The first of the top end of town to come in for that top up for the run of the flag. Whoa.
Gents, I'm going to drop off.
All right, Nick, no worries, mate. Good luck with the run through to the checkered flag, eh?
All right, thank you.
Thanks for stopping on by to have a chat to us. We greatly appreciate it. It doesn't happen enough these days. There he is, Nick Podiatis. Hopefully get a chance to ask him about Super Formula at the end of the night as well. Francone in a wheel-to-wheel battle here, door-to-door battle with Chris McDonald, and McDonald goes, with James Karlowski, Jake Karlowski, and Karlowski goes through. I was distracted by McDonald and Curtin swapping around, but that's because Curtin was on pit lane. McDonald's the next one up the road. You can see him only about 7 seconds up the road from Jake Karlowski and Francone. That is lap traffic ahead of Francone and Karlowski at the moment in our shot. And Francone's not giving up without a fight here, without one hell of a fight. He's going to have to yield this time by. Joe Baldwin up to the 10th. The top 10 for Trucker. He needs another stop to get him through to the flag. That might be the only thing that drops him out at this point. 23 minutes to go. So it'll be, I would suspect, 11 laps at the line for the race leader in Caleb Dawson. 11 laps at the line because he'll still have another splash. He's in. Dawson's in. So this is the lap.
Daniel might be on an interesting strategy here because remember when we said at the start he had that very short second, only 14-second stop at the first stop. Right? His second stop's only 3 seconds slower than Curtin, so he's definitely made some time here on track.
That's good. Yeah, well, the pace of Curtin has been really good in that second stint, and Piper as well. They've definitely gained, as you say, from doing something a little bit different, and still, Curtin and Piper, who are nose to tail at the moment, running through to the flag, have got Baldwin, Francone, Karlowski still to stop. So too McDonald. So too Wooden. They're in a very good position here, those two. You're right. Keep an eye on that. Francone back down the inside. Francone back down the inside of Karlowski. Karlowski deep under brakes, forcing the issue. Whoa! That was nearly a touch. That definitely was. Trouble out of the chase. Joe Baldwin caught up. So too Bradley Curtin. That ends his promising run. Oh, dear. It's all gone belly up. McDonald, I think, might have been caught up in that one as well. Johnson and McDonald to pit lane. And Curtin's night is done. His charge is done. He's lost too much time there. He won't come back from that. That all started with that. Unfortunately, Karlowski got himself in the wrong spot. Couldn't get the move done on Francone. Tried to back out of it. Balked himself. Baldwin waiting right there beside him. Contact and chaos ensues. Probably need to have a look at it again. Yeah, Bradley Curtin last to arrive on scene. There's the contact. Baldwin on Karlowski. And unfortunately, Curtin didn't have enough time to brake and get out of it. Or didn't give himself enough time to brake and get out of it. And now, Holland. Whoa. Holland on Curtin at the top of the hill. Couldn't get it done.
And the problem for Curtin is he's done his last stop now, and now he has no front splitter.
Yep. I like what you've done there too, Adam Lavis. Very nicely done.
What have I done?
The camera through the cutting. Very reminiscent of what I saw Sunday a week ago.
I've had that one for ages.
Have you? Shows how little I pay attention.
It's like I got the crane camera down here as well at the dip.
I think you do. I think you do indeed.
Drone cam. That's the closest I can get to one of the chopper's fancy shots, because the chopper is a bit of a pain in the butt one, because it only sticks to the cars. You can't actually change its angle. iRacing needs some more freedom with that tool.
Yep. So Holland in 11th. We go back to Sean Hart, race leader. Michael Angus, David Kirby yet to stop. Caleb Dawson has pitted for the run home. We suspected that'd be the case. Angus has to be the next one, given those lap 18 stop numbers. Hart and Kirby playing the long game. Angus due any tick of the clock by my calculations. Scott Wooden on pit lane right now as well. Ferrari 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but Francone yet to stop a second time. Baldwin yet to stop a second time. Currently, Ferrari are 1 through 6. Wooden and Karlovsky on pit lane. Oh, the drama. Every time, it doesn't matter how many times we come here, Adam Lavis. Every time we see drama at one point or another. And it's happened again, and it's happened in the final half hour again. And it's more to the point, fatigue, among other things, kicking in for these guys.
Yeah, like normally we see just once we go past the hour mark, because most of our regular races are an hour per week. But it'd be even more so for some of these guys. So they would have already done 12 plus hours over the weekend. And then they come in here and do another hour and a half. So plenty of fatigue to be had from obviously once it goes in. But then on the flip side, you can also, with the amount of laps you've done, you should be able to almost do it on autopilot.
Absolutely. Ride with Piper. Down into Forest Elbow. Then on to Conrod. Back at the front, David Kirby has Caleb Dawson for company. That's not good news for Kirby, because Dawson's running the checkered flag already. Kirby's not. Kirby, by our calculations, still has a stop to complete here. And what's interesting too, Adam Lavis, keep an eye on that number, 34.8 seconds between Hart and Dawson. And if Kirby can be somewhat of a roadblock here for Dawson, it might just help Hart out. 2:04.2 the fastest lap of the race for Dawson. 2:02.4 last time round for Dawson. 2:05.4 for Kirby. 2:04.4 for Michael Angus. 2:05.4 for Angus and 2:04.7 for Hart last time round. So Dawson last time round was 0.3 of a second quicker than Hart, a second quicker than Kirby, and 1 second, completely 1 second faster than Michael Angus as well. Across the top. Mistakes at this point of the race will be punished. Will be detrimental. And costly. So it's paramount for these guys to keep it on the black stuff and hit every marker as hard as that can be. So we're still waiting for the top three to stop. Francone as well, so too Baldwin. Everybody else, with the exception of Neil Gladwin, has completed their last round of pit stops. We do believe. Adam Chiplin and Scott Jordanson back out onto the racetrack now. The rate of attrition has grown. Nick's got his wish. He's up into 25th. Here we go. Down the inside. Dawson on Kirby to Murray's. Feeds Kirby a little bit of grass. There we go. Dawson through to third. Clean overtake. Ferrari continue on to dominate this race. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 at the moment, but the field not yet completely cleansed. Where are we on the clock? Sean Hart is halfway through lap 36. We are focusing more on Dawson, I'd say, as far as fastest as race pace is concerned. And to that note, I reckon we've got only 8 laps to go. If Dawson's the benchmark, flag will wave pretty close to the 1 hour 30 marker with no overtime. I want to get a better look at that next time by the line. 15 minutes to go. Dawson to the top of the hill. Yeah, it'll be 7 laps at the line. He's more than a minute from home at this rate as far as this lap is concerned. So it'll be 7 to go this time by the line for Dawson, who is our effective race leader by my numbers until I see what Hart and Angus do on pit road. 36.5 seconds between Hart and Dawson right now. Pit lane for Sean Hart and Michael Angus. The 2 leaders are in. So this is exactly what we're talking about. 14 minutes to the flag, 7 laps to go. It's on. It's really on here at Mount Panorama. Dawson to the line. Hart out. Hart on the run. Hart coming out of Hell Corner, out of pit lane, and he's managed to get the job done on Dawson. He's kept Dawson at bay. But Dawson's now got clear traffic now that he's got rid of David Kirby, who's in pit lane. Michael Angus comes back out in third. It's a 2-horse race, but it's 3.5 seconds, and that might just be a little bit too far of a bridge to overcome. An overturn for Caleb Dawson. Sean Hart, by going long, 2 long stints back-to-back, has managed to get the better of Caleb Dawson. And now you ask the question, Adam Lavis, exactly how much did getting stuck behind David Kirby cost this guy, Caleb Dawson, who's 3.3 seconds down the road on our race leader who's on screen, Sean Hart.
Well, I think Sean also did it a little bit himself too, because we saw that Caleb took 5 seconds less in the previous stop to get that lead, and it was about a 5.5 second gap. Sean managed to get that down to the inside the 5 second mark, and then he's also now taken 5.5 seconds of less fuel, 5.5 seconds, 6 seconds less fuel. So he's basically made a little bit of a track gain in that previous stint, and nullified any fuel gain that was had. So we've now got a 3.5 second lead. So probably say potentially 2.5 seconds might have been cost in that little battle for Dawson during that previous stint.
The tension, the drama of Mount Panorama. How good. Now, good news for our mate Nick Fodiatis. 24th is where he sits at the moment, so he has managed to sneak into the points by virtue of Michael Ladder and Nigel Patton falling out of the top the 25 here. Michael Ladder is now 5 laps down. Yeah, he's still got a pit, so that might drop him down behind Brett Campbell and Tristan Kosh. You've got a point. Good point. Michael Ladder was on pit road for 9 minutes, so he's now down 5 laps on the rest of the pack. But he's up 7 spots on where he started by virtue of the demise of everybody behind him. Bradley Curtin back to pit road now as well. That's unscheduled. No, he's been there for 1 minute 25. Okay. Now, what's that all about? Bradley Curtin, he's been on pit road for 1 minute and 35, and
he probably, maybe after he got that front split damage, probably pulled the pin, maybe.
Copy that. Maybe so. Have to have a look. Joe Baldwin, in the meantime, comes to pit road. Dawson's deficit is 3.7 seconds. The only battle at the moment in the top 5 is the battle for 4th. Francone, Kirby and Piper, but Francone's still to stop. Curtin coming down into pit lane. Uh-oh. No, nothing untoward there. Nothing untoward there. But still, he remains on pit road and has been for 2 minutes and 11 seconds. So maybe he has just parked up. He's got to 75% and he's thought that'll do me. That does help Nick out because Nick has now completed that final stop and is still out on the racetrack. He's a lap clear of Nigel Patton's parked up. That's what's going on too. Nigel Patton parked up at the end of lap 34. Bradley Curtin stuck at the start of lap 36. Fodiatis now 25th with Tristan Kosh and Brett Campbell going by. Fodiatis still in the points as a result of what's happened to Bradley Curtin. Sean Hart, the leader, 37.92 laps. So everyone down to 20th is still on the lead lap. Andrew Neil clinging onto the lead lap by the skin of his teeth. Scott Jordanson, the first lap down. Hart is 5 laps away from the checkered flag, 9.5 minutes to go. Oh, that's a lot to get through. That's Chris McDonald. Geez, that was a wall scrape as well from Joe Baldwin. Sometimes you just got to sit quietly and enjoy the grunt, the sound, the muscle of these cars. I must admit, one of the great fascinating aspects of being a spectator for the first time at the 12-hour when the International GT formula was adopted in 2011 and when more manufacturers started to embrace it and they made their way to the mountain and you didn't just have Audi dominating things, you all of a sudden had Mercedes and Porsche and Ferrari and BMW and Bentley, etc. involved. One of the great things was standing on the edge of the media centre balcony and just listening to the distinct difference in noise as each car made their way by. So vastly different to what we have become accustomed to in October per se. And you get probably the same thing with TCR these days as well, but I haven't yet made it to the TCR round at the mountain, and that's not likely to change anytime soon because I've got commitments up here on at Morgan Park here in Queensland on the weekend. There at Mount Panorama this year. Hart, Dawson, Angus, Kirby, Piper, Holland, Johnson, Wooden, Butler and Franco. The top 10. Franco has now completed his stop and still maintained a top 10 result. That's great for him. Whoa! McDonald scrapes the wall! At the grate, clouts the wall, opens the door up to Baldwin, who can't find his way through just yet. They're trying to track down and chase Franco and keep him honest, but they're not going to be able to do that if they keep scraping paint and keep squabbling one another. They need to work together here to try and catch Franco. And Franco, of course, is 1.5 down on Butler. 4 guys there within striking distance, within an earshot. 7 minutes to go, 4 laps. 3.5 to go for Sean Hart, who leads by 3.3.
That cloud has damaged the steering. He's just a little bit right hand down at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, it was a good clout. It had to do something. It's actually welcomed Joe Baldwin through. It's left the door open for Baldwin to capitalise. And Baldwin now finds himself 11th, 1.5 seconds off the 10.
Well, see, if he does,
solid run for Joe.
If he does get in the top 10 here, we can tell him he can stop complaining about the 90 minutes because that's the only reason he got in the top 10.
That's right. He certainly wasn't in the top 10 at the end of 60 minutes, that's for sure. What a moment. What a moment. Hart, Dawson, Angus, Kirby, Piper. They're the top 5. Piper all over the back of Kirby in the battle for 4th. And now we pick up Andrew Neil. Straight by Adam Hennessy. Dawson lapping them at the moment down the inside of both of them. Dawson to second.
It's a little sneaky there by Neil. He's used the blue flags to get himself in position there.
He's done well. A
little bit of sneaky racecraft.
Gamesmanship at its finest. Whoa, Dawson. Wide onto the main straight. 3 laps to go. Defeat for Dawson unless something drastically goes wrong for Hart. But what a fight it's been. He's got the fastest lap of the race so far. I think he's got that locked up. Hart, Dawson, Angus, Kirby and Piper the top 5. So still 6 Ferraris, 2 Porsches, a Bimmer and an Audi in the top 10 here. Mercedes are going to miss out. McLaren don't register with the scorers. Michael Ladder's still in pit lane. And he's down 8 laps at the moment. He needed to get to 33 to be clear of that 75% threshold, so I don't think that's going to happen for him unless he can get out there and get one more done. Nigel Patton's disconnected, so even though he has got past the threshold, it's not going to matter. Same for Bradley Curtin. Nick Fodiatis, 25th and last of the on-track runners at the moment, and will be the last of the point scorers. As long as he stays there and gets to the checkered flag. Very nicely done from him. But we ride with Sean Hart down through the yeses, the dipper, and the run towards Forest Elbow one more time. Next time round, 2 laps to go. Only going to do about a minute of overtime here, which is not too bad. Actually, not even that, I wouldn't imagine. Hart, Dawson, Angus, Kirby, and Piper. Ferrari 1, 2, 3, 4. So only 4 manufacturers in the top 10. No McLaren, no Ford, no Lambo. And
Mercedes.
No Mercedes in the top 10. Only 12th for the Mercedes tonight through Chris McDonald. So a lot has happened in 90 minutes. There's no doubt about that.
It's very unusual for the Mercedes not to be up in the top 10 there.
Well, that's right. And
I think this will be the finally. It's taken 6 weeks, but I think we've finally got an Audi in the top 10 on one of the races you call them.
it's only, it feels like it's taking an eternity. Not a commercial endorsement in the slightest, but if you haven't tried the Thin's onion rings, the potato chip packet company I'm talking about, do yourself a favour, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I've been slowly but surely munching on throughout the course of the broadcast here, because I didn't take the liberty of making dinner before we got underway, because, as you know, I'm 112 years plus a further hour behind up here in Queensland. I wasn't quite hungry at 5 o'clock local time. At 2 minutes 40 to go. White flag in the air next time by for Sean Hart, Caleb Dawson, Michael Angus, David Kirby, and Daniel Pipe in the top 5. Great run from the Porsche. Great run from Adam Johnson, up 10 spots. Biggest move of the night at this stage by my numbers, Joe Baldwin up 12. There he is, on the cusp of potentially making it 13. A run for a top 10 spot. He's got 2 laps to go. Let's ride with the man from Bunbury.
Yeah, I think he'll like this a little bit of clip too, because he's finally got his mountain man on his credit CV.
One slip up from Francone is all it's going to take for Baldwin to invite himself through. But precision, mistake-free driving from Francone, and Baldwin will have to do it on his own merit. Francone's been pretty good tonight. Up 4 spots on where he started. From 14th on the grid, but Baldwin from 23rd, actually further back, because he opted to not start 23rd on track. He opted to start from pit lane, grab the juice and go, and he's charged through the field beautifully. Avoided all the drama bar one incident. One incident at the chase, which looked like a racing incident, to be fair. For him, at least. His involvement in that actually was triggered by the 2 cars in front of him having at it, and not enough racing room being given in that battle, if I'm honest. Whoa, Dawson. He's going to go down swinging, isn't he? 3.5 seconds down on Sean Hart, 204.233, the fastest lap of the race. Can Trucker get his way into the top 10? Let's wait and see. White flag in the air. We're on the last lap. We're on the run home at Mount Panorama. Baldwin can't find a way by yet. Does he go the deep dive? The deep dive! The deep dive! He does! From nowhere, he's pulled that one from out of the clouds. He came from 2 car lengths back. A very heavy, deep break. And Baldwin gets his way into the top 10. Francone with all the work to do to get back in there. 1 lap to go at the mountain. Closest battle on the racetrack right here. Baldwin defends to turn 1. Francone trying to get him on the run up the hill. Up and under. The switchback. It'll put him on the outside for Griffins, but the inside for the cutting if he can hang tough and hold it. Here we go. Hart, Dawson, Angus, Kirby, Piper. Up the outside. He's got him for the moment. Baldwin goes deep under brakes. And then gets across to cover him off. Smart driving racecraft from Joe Baldwin. Back at the front. Ferrari making headlines at the top and the tail of the 10 here. Faultless performance from pole to the checkered flag. He didn't lead every lap along the way. He didn't have to. Strategy got the job done. Sean Hart victorious in round 6 of Waste Options GT3M at Mount Panorama. Dawson goes down swinging 2.5 seconds to winning margin. 2:04.233, the fastest lap of the race. Michael Angus, welcome to the GSRC GT3 servers, my friend. In 3rd place, and his mate David Kirby with him in 4th. Really good stuff. Let's get back to Baldwin and Francone if we may, because these 2 guys are going to have an ultimate slog down Conrod for the final time. Look at them. Ferrari v Ferrari. And after a wretched night of luck and a horrible run of form for the Bailey Ladders boys, Joe Baldwin might be about to fly the flag inside the top 10 for them.
I think we've lost someone else from the top 10 too, because this is now for 9th.
You're right. Oh, jeez. Who has dropped
Andrew
out?
Neal?
No, it's not Neil. Adam Hennessy?
He was
Did
already
he
down.
drop out?
He was already down.
No. I've got no idea because this is now for 9th. We need to go back and work out what the bloody hell's going on there. Joe Baldwin to 9th. Joe Baldwin to 9th. James Francone to 10th. Baldwin holds up Francone and Francone still gets his top 10 finish. Adam Johnson! No! On the last lap and all. On the last lap. And look at the toe out on that Porsche and the front right wheel. My goodness gracious me. That is going to hurt.
It's dropped him back to 16th.
Dropped him back. Well, at least he was able to limp it to the line. Adam Johnson to 16th. So Baldwin, 14 positions gained, more than anyone on the racetrack. And unfortunately, we now know that, actually, iRacing have not repaired the sand trap down here. We can't do the jump anymore, can we? They haven't fixed it up? No. So all these guys are going to go down here and either bury it in the sand or do some doughies, one or the other.
They fixed it up so now it works like a sand trap, which is unfortunate for the entertainment purposes.
So, well, defeats the purpose of doing the cooldown lap, quite frankly. If only they opened up the exit halfway up Mountain Straight so they could drive through and drive under the podium. That'd be great. Not to be. It's all over. Sean Hart, the winner, and 2.5 seconds to winning margin. They were in a league of their own at the end there, those two. It was Ferrari 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, and 10. 7 Ferraris in the top 10, a Porsche. BMW and an Audi in there as well in the form of Daniel Piper, Adam Holland, and Scott Wood. And the margin from Kirby back to Piper was only 2.1 in the end. And Baldwin edged out Francone by 0.37 of a second. Williams McDonald remained 12th, so Williams got by in the closing stages there. Lavender and Karlovsky, Ferguson, all beneficiaries of Johnson biting the dust and concrete at the top of the mountain. Magnificent. Really good stuff. Hope you enjoyed that, ladies and gentlemen. Stick around. Our post-race show's coming up. And we'll have some results from the pro split very shortly as well. No doubt M. Dench extending his championship lead unless something's gone horribly wrong. And there's a real mathematical chance that he'll get that done in week 8, not week 9. The way things are going, it is horrendous, the toweling up that he's doing of the opposition at the moment. Those numbers are extraordinary. We've got Michael Angus standing by to join us for a chat here. number 205. And I was a little bit surprised, actually, to be fair, when I saw this bloke, as Jake Karlovsky makes mention on the socials here, comments, "What a race, LOL." I'm not sure how I feel about the fact that I've just said LOL on air, quite frankly. But I'm just reading the comment on the screen. I didn't make it. Don't hold it against me. But Jake Karlovsky was in the thick of it from first until last. He was in all sorts. In a couple of incidents, one with Pete Natson, then one at the Chase as well, and still managed to limp to the line in 14th. Well done, mate. We've got Caleb Dawson standing by after second. We've got Michael Angus and David Kirby standing by as well. And as I was partway through, before I got to Jake Karlovsky's comment, I was partway through saying I was a little bit thrown off, actually, when I saw you two blokes enter the server. Very nice to have you on board on a Monday night for starters, right? On the platforms of the GSRC. And I know Kirby's a regular. What's this, a case of long-time viewer, first-time caller? Nice to have you on board. Now, your presence here, Michael Angus, particularly threw me off. Not so much Kirby, because I'm used to seeing him pop up in the comments section, but what are you two blokes doing in the GT3 race? I would have thought that you would have been in the earlier race, the supercars.
Yeah, I literally signed up for my renewal this afternoon after not being in a GT3 for probably a couple of years now. And thought, we did the Bathurst 12-hour on the weekend, enjoyed that, so let's get back in and do a bit of GT3 racing. And I hadn't heard your voice for a little while, so I thought, what better place to do it?
It's funny because I was only thinking about contacting you a couple of weeks ago, and I hadn't got around to it yet. It's on the list of things that I need to do, because I'm looking at talent that I can recruit for a chat on the radio about the Olympics. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
There we go.
So I might chat to you. I might chat to you about that one off air. In the meantime, and I did give Athletes and Paris a bit of a nod at the top of the broadcast when we introduced you in third place there as well, mate. Firstly, obviously, having not been in a GT car for all that long, the 12-hour was a good warm-up for this, because you've hit the ground running. Start third, finish third. Happy days.
Yeah, there's a couple of quick boys in there too. I accidentally got into the wrong server to begin with, so I thought, here we go, I'm not even going to get a quali lap in, and I managed to get in with about 3 or 4 minutes to go. I think I got a lap down. But yeah, no, the pace was quick. I mean, we did pretty well in the 12-hour in the top split there at the 9 AM slot, and finished top 20 in that race. So to see the guys sending lap times around here in the low 4s, I was a bit surprised, to be honest. So if that's how fast they're going in the AMs, I'd be scared what they're doing in the pros.
Yeah, well, this is very true. We'll find out in a moment. I'm sure we'll have some results come up on the screen. And I noticed, actually, on the subject of pros, one of the great versatile performers of the GSRC platforms from Lobesy Racing has just dived into the bunker as well. We'll have a chat with him very shortly. I suspect he's been wheeling and dealing up in the top split tonight by the fact that he's graced us with his presence here. So we'll get to Trent Lavis very shortly. Sticking with you guys, though, because it was nice for us to be able to broadcast the AM race in full tonight. Your thoughts on the Ferrari and how it handles around Mount Panorama, and obviously it is a bit of a Ferrari club here at the moment. Looking at the fact that there were 7 in the top 10, it's quite lopsided. I mean, there are plenty of other GT3 cars that we like, that we saw in action here in the real world only about 8-9 days ago. But for you and Kirby as well, I'll welcome him into the conversation at this point in time. And nice to have you with us staying dry as well, mate. The reality of the matter is, I want to get your thoughts on why Ferrari as opposed to the other manufacturers, and did you do any testing of those before you settled on Ferrari?
Yeah, we for the 12-hour we gave everything a good crack just to see what was the most stable and comfortable car. I think the Ferrari seems to be the most consistent over a lap. I know I had a couple of good battles there with I'm not sure who was driving it in the Merc, who was absolutely romping us in down the straights, but the Ferrari seems quite settled over the top. So over the course of a stint, we didn't change tyres. I'm assuming the other guys probably didn't either, and you're only seeing about a 20% loss on total tyres over an hour and a half. So it's pretty settled, pretty comfortable, and very easy to hit a similar lap time over and over and over.
Kirby, for you?
Yeah, it was good. Well, as you know, g'day, Zach. Good to talk to you instead of just heckling you from the armchair.
From the sideline. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes.
No, look, as you know, I'm a big supercar driver, so that's pretty much all I ever drive. And it was a few weeks ago doing some practice for the OSR 12-hour. Started doing some, jumped in the Fez, and straight away I felt super comfortable. So it was a bit of a no-brainer. And it was literally this afternoon. Mike goes, I'm going to jump into gents tonight. I'm like, hey, rightio. Why not?
I feel as though we've been, blessed with a little bit of maybe too much a saturation of Bathurst over the course of the last fortnight with real world and sim world as well, mate. But for you, as you say, top heavy V8 supercar presence in your sim racing portfolio. So why GT3 now? And is this something that we might see more of from you?
Funny you ask. Well, I've got a big hole on the left-hand side of my rig at the moment where the shifter is not there at the moment.
No.
So that's on its way down to the Gold Coast or Brisbane to get a service done on it through Jinx Shifters, which I'll pick up on Monday when I'm down there.
Yep.
But so I've got no shifter, so I thought I'd grab the paddles from the kayak out and go GT3 racing.
Yeah, why not? Whatever floats your boat.
I've got a shifter, so I'm like, I'm not going to run a supercar. So I'm like,
now on the subject of getting the paddles from the kayak out, you guys have had a fair bit of water towed on you the last a month or so.
It only took 4 minutes for him to get to the weather.
Exactly. The entire summer, right?
Actually gets the daylight saving.
Shut up. But the reality of the matter is you guys have copped a fair bit of weather. It's no secret. It's well documented. We believe second time round you guys were spared the brunt of it. How's everything going?
I think it's good. Like, we've been up here for probably 2.5 years now, and I can say probably this wet season has probably been the first proper wet season we've kind of had since we've been up here. Obviously, we had Kira Lee come over our house and straight over the top of us on around Australia Day. So that was a bit of an experience and everything as well to go through that. But we obviously missed a lot of the water from Jasper. That was further north of us. And like, we've gone okay. Like, it was bucketing down over the weekend. I think it was pretty bad up here, but we didn't lose the bridge nearby. That usually goes under on the old Bruce Highway. But that's sort of still, that hasn't been closed or anything, which is good. So if that goes under, we know we've had a bit of water. But all in all, it's not bad. So trying to stay dry, just trying to stay hydrated, I suppose, because it's quite warm and everything up here as well. So.
We haven't been spared on the humidity front either, and we copped a fair bit of water the last 2 weekends, which has had an impact on local sport. Now, since we are there talking about rain, how excited are you two blokes about what's coming in iRacing circles?
Mate, I got that week off, so I'm pumped.
I think he's put his annual leave slip in, and that's all we'll be doing.
Mate, Wednesday morning, the kids will be dropped off at school, and I'll be on here. So keep an eye out for a first look stream on Harlan Motorsports, and I'll stream what I first see and everything like that on Wednesday morning.
I have a
sneaky plug, and well done.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you dropped that one in here, didn't you? No, I was going to say, I think it's one of those ones that I think we're all excited to get, and then once we've got it, we'll all wish we don't have it. So it's going to be a big shock to a few people, and I think a shock to a few PCs as well, that might get a little warm and overheated trying to keep up with all the new graphics.
Yes.
But it'll definitely make the racing interesting, and I think GT3 cars, for example, as I said, pretty stable cars. So if you can throw something in there to spice it up, but I don't know how it's going to go into supercar. That'll be very interesting. But it'll make it for good viewing at home.
2 more questions that I can think of, and then you blokes can either stay or go, whichever you please. We might have a chat off air if you do stay, but when you look at the race just gone, I'm just trying to remember. I think it might have been you, Michael, talking about the tyre wear factor on these cars. So, given that you don't pay as much of an invoice for tyres now in pit stops than you used to in GT3 circles, I need to ask the question, what did you do in way of tyre strategy tonight, please?
I didn't swap any tyres. I just ran it the whole way through.
Good boy.
I just watching the lap times. It wasn't coming down all that much, and we had a pretty comfortable gap there. So not doing a heap of sort of testing beforehand and knowing how long a tyre swap would take or anything like that. I just thought it wasn't worth the risk in swapping them. And as I said, I don't think the times really dropped off across the whole race. So when you, like Kirby said, coming from supercars and one little slide can cost you, half a second for the next 3 laps around here in a GT3, it's pretty friendly. So it was quite enjoyable.
Indeed, and David, to you, same question.
Yeah, I'd agree. Like, I'm just looking at it now. Like, my right front was probably my worst, and it was still up over 50. So the other 3 were all good in the high 70s, mid to high 70s. So probably could have gone another hour on those tyres, and and just kept it straight. But like you said, you don't cop too much of a fine now changing tyres in GT3. So it was pretty good.
Indeed it was. And I know that we won't see you next Monday night, David Kirby, because you'll be down here on the Gold Coast, and that's a fair hike from the old sim rig.
Yeah, I'll be on a plane this time next. I'll be just landing this time next Monday night, coming home.
so in other words, you'll heckle me from the replay. I like it. Good work.
Yes, 100%.
Excellent. Right, Michael, to you. And to a real world topic of heart, let's talk about how everything's going in your world, because we're now only 5 months out from the opening ceremony, the Paris Olympics. Athletes from all over the world will flock to the Champs-Élysées and the Eiffel Tower and all the sights and sounds of France, including a strong contingent from Australia. And this is that once in every 2-year movement that brings the sports of swimming and athletics to the forefront of everybody's attention and interest. How are our athletes in the athletics track and field department faring in the lead up, please?
Yeah, it's going to be a busy couple of weeks. We've got a couple of one-day meets coming up, and then once we hit April 11th from memory in Adelaide, we've got our national titles, which is the key qualifying period for that Olympic Games. So we'll see which athletes are primed and ready to go. And our World Championship team from last year was the most successful Australian team ever at a World Championships. And the athletes that perform quite well there have only gotten better this year. So I think we're actually in for a pretty sneaky, positive. I don't want to jinx it, but I'm quietly confident it's going to be one of our more, if not our most successful Olympic team in a very long time on the track.
You haven't been wrong lately with the last big events.
No, that's right.
I've picked a few at the moment, and the ones that I've sort of been watching quietly in the background that I thought would come on this year have come on very well. So there's a couple of young guns that I'm very excited about. We've got a young sprinter named Tori Lewis who's just broken the women's Australian 100 meter national record. So she's only 19, which is absolutely bonkers to think she's already the fastest woman ever, and she's only going to get faster. So who knows? We could have a couple of sprinters on our hands. Rowan Browning's prime for a big one in the 100 too. I reckon he can crack that 10-second barrier and hopefully feature in a 100-meter final, which I don't know an Aussie's done in 20, 30 years. So, no, a lot of things to look forward to. And fortunately for me, I know it sounds crazy, but I'm actually going to be watching it from home, which I'm quite excited about. Because usually when you're at these events, you don't see anything because you spend the whole time in the background doing everything else. But the Olympic team is run by the AOC, which is not us. So we do all the pre-work, we get them all there, and once they land in Paris, we let them go, and we come back and watch it from home with everyone else.
So in other words, you get to do all the hard yards, but you don't get the glory. That's the way I understand that. Yes,
that's you'd be bang on there. So anything with the name World in front of it, World Championships, World Relays, World Unis, World Indoors, that's all us.
Yep.
As soon as you come to the big, bright, shiny ones with the Olympics and Com Games, we handball them over once we've done all the polishing. So.
All right, well, you've ruined my next question because I was going to ask you how you felt about Dan Andrews just shafting to Melbourne 2026, but I think that's well documented how everybody feels about that. For a sporting nation, that was such an un-Australian moment. It was up there with the underarm as far as I was concerned, as far as disgraceful things that have happened in Australian sport is concerned. But nevertheless, we'll press on. And if you're playing along at home, I've been squeaky clean tonight, but there's politics checked off for you on the bingo card. I finally got there and found a way to work it in. And it was for reasons that you wouldn't have thought. quip about daylight savings will be documented.
Yeah,
later.
I'm staying in the same time zone too, by the way, this weekend, so it's pretty good.
Yeah.
1912, is it?
Yes, correct. Yes, 112 years plus 1 hour, Kirby. We've been through this before. All right, and on that note, actually, we will be broadcasting, right? And I won't bore everybody with this too long because we've got a few drivers to get to, and I'll let you blokes go in just a moment. But the reason for the 112, not just the even 100 like everybody else, is because of Thursday, right? Thursday is February 29. February 29 only happens on a Thursday once every 28 years. Okay, so the next time Thursday, February 29 rolls around, February 29 will fall on every other day of the week once in that same period, in that 28-year period. So it'll go Tuesday, Sunday, Friday, Wednesday, Monday, and Saturday through to 2048. And then be back to the Thursday for 2052, right? So that's why that's February 29 and where that falls, that particular day of the week, that's how far back I had to go just for accuracy purposes. So that's why it's 112 years, because in 1912, it would have been Feb 29 on the Thursday. So that's why, for anyone that's listening at home, I know that's probably confused the absolute bejesus out of some of you, but that's why there is method to the madness, I promise you. Kirby, Angus, thank you. Appreciate it.
You lost me at... one more thing. I'm glad we tuned in. Thanks, Saki, and thanks for having us. We'll definitely be back. So that was a lot of fun tonight. Thank you.
It certainly was. Look forward to seeing you back on the grid anytime you like, gentlemen. You're always welcome, and good luck with the athletes in the lead up to Paris, mate. We appreciate it.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks, Zach. Thanks, boys.
And I'll be dropping him a message at some point in the next short while to tee up an interview for radio as well, but at least he's been warned. Gentlemen, appreciate that. Let's press on. Joe Baldwin, I know you're an early starter tomorrow morning over there in the west, so I'll just make this quick. The start from pit lane, firstly, what the hell happened? And then secondly, you can't complain about it being 90 minutes, mate, because that was a fantastic drive to drive all the way from pit lane to ninth. Well done.
Yeah. No, I was unhappy with the setup, so I thought, I might duck in and just put the medium downforce sprint setup on it. That's usually reasonable around here, and it was great on low fuel, but when it was full of fuel, she was a bit of a handful. But I just kept plugging away. It was just luck. There was a big kerfuffle there with about 7-8 laps, I think, to go at the chase. Someone got sideways, and
Jake Karlovsky and co got caught up, and you actually were the bystander and all of that from what we saw.
I think I was over to the right, and he spun and sort of come across the nose, and I don't know how the hell I got out of it, but I got out of it without any damage. And then on the second last lap, I think I did the biggest balls move I've ever done on the mountain on James Francona, and it was I was pretty happy with that. I even said to him, great race at the end. He defended really well, but just lucky enough to nab him at the end there. And someone went off on the last lap, which got me ninth. So certainly wasn't expecting a top 10, but I'll take it when I can get it. It's been a good night of racing, to be honest.
Exactly. Apologies to Trent Lavis and John Merritt, who have already seen themselves out before I even got to them. But that's what happens when we start with have-a-chats like Kirby and Angus. We will get back to Merritt and Lavis at some point later this week.
BS.
No, not at all. Now, I'd like to catch up on. Joe, on that balls and all move of yours, with a lap and a quarter to go, you're in a different bloody postcode to Francone when you started that lunge.
Yeah, I don't. I probably will never repeat it that well again. I come in, we braked at like the exact same moment, but I was carrying a bit more speed from the draft, and I just turned left, aimed it for the apex, and made sure I pulled it up, and he gave me the room. So, but I was slow out. I had to block and sort of be smart all the way till we got up to Griffin's, where I got back on the race line and had a clear run back up over the top. So it's Jared Knight's there saying Merritt brained us. You don't need to hear anything else. He's put up there. Well done, Jared. So, but no, that move was I don't know. I wanted to get into the top 10, and at the point I was sitting 11th. So I sort of had to go for it and make sure I didn't kill him. So yeah, it was great racing.
Well, actually, there's one more question for you, Joe, before I let you go. But before that, we might, on that subject, on that comment of Jared Knight's, bring up the pro split results if we've got them, please, Adam Lavis, because the fact that Merritt's brained everybody makes me wonder what the hell's happened to M. Dench. Down 14 seconds. Look at this. John Merritt has dethroned the incumbent. The 8-time, about to be 9-time GT3 champion Matthew Dench, the former master and his apprentice, 1 and 2 across the line at Mount Panorama, and John Merritt has finally, at long last, got one back.
There is more to the story. If you look across
Dench,
right on the side of the screen, Merritt's got 0 incidents, Dench's got 9, so there might have been a few little things going on during the race.
And there may well have been as well. David Kirby and Michael Angus have seen themselves out of the room. We're getting to Caleb Dawson, Sean Hart and Adam Johnson very, very shortly. There are the results. Merritt, Dench, Knight, Nicholson. Great to see some big names, heavy hitters in here. Mitchum, Lavis, Luthwaite, who was impressive last week. Green, Martin and Rogers, the top 10. Can we scroll down and just see what they're like overall? And they did get to 44, as I suspected they would with that slightly quicker pace. 33 starters and a couple of, as you know, Michael Angus in the wrong server, Jermaine Tackle, who opted not to start, so too Mark Gomez. So 36 starters here and 33 there. It's a pretty good night out. 69, dinner for 2 for the turnout for GT3 on a Monday night. And yes, I did go there, and yes, I can get away with it. 11:15 Eastern Daylight Time. Now, Joe, before we let you go, Ferrari, 7 of them in the top 10 tonight. I've got a question for you that I couldn't ask the other two because it's the first time that those two weren't here the last time we did 9 in a slight variation to the fuel tank capacity for tonight, and it really livened things up, I thought.
Yeah, definitely had to be a 2-stopper. When I started from the pits, because I actually jumped back in the car ready to get on the grid, and everyone was coming down to the chase. It was like, bugger. So I had half a lap ahead anyway. I got 20 laps with a little bit to spare out of the tank on the first one, and it got me to about 45 minutes, I think 42 minutes. And I thought, if I save a bit, maybe I'll make it. But straight away, it was pretty apparent I'd need about another 20 litres. So probably the perfect fuel limit to make sure that there was 2 stops in the race. And only having one set of tyres opened up, whether do you short fuel your first one and keep going, or do you run it out of fuel, then fill it up and just top it up when the tyres are dead and put the fresh ones on. Then I topped up, put the tyres on at the first stop, and just basically went for it. So, but I think there was a lot of strategies there. A couple of the guys that I got in front of before my first pit stop were in front of me after that pit stop. So there was a lot of strategy in play, which is great to see on the longer races.
Indeed it is. And quick comment on round 7, because we've gone from a fan favourite, and this is what we've got for the rest of the season now. Off to Mugello next week for sprint racing, off to Aragon the week after for sprint racing, Hockenheim then for 60 minutes, and then Spa for 90. Spa for 90 will be great. Hockenheim always manages to dish up some sort of action. Modal and Aragon will be hit-miss, but I'm really excited about Mugello because that is the unknown entity as far as this season is concerned. We've had a couple of other categories drop in there, trucker, but not yet GT3. Next Monday night, well worth the price of admission.
I think Mugello is probably going to be the surprise packet in the GT3 cars. It's one of those tracks that I've been waiting for it to hit iRacing for 10 years. It's been on Assetto Corsa since release, and I love it on Assetto Corsa. I can go there and just hot lap any car. I love the place. So it's a great addition to iRacing. I'm so glad it's finally here. And in a couple of weeks, they may as well throw rain at Aragon for all I care, because I won't be there. But not at Aragon, but Spa, if that's a 90-minute race, I'll certainly be there for that one. That'll be a cracker. So hopefully we can throw a little bit of weather in for that one, just to broaden the range of the broadcast and what we're doing, and put on a good show.
I was going to say, if only Aragon and Hockenheim were swapped around, I wouldn't be here for Aragon either. But I'm not here for Hockenheim as it stands, and you're more than welcome to come and sit in for Aragon with me in the commentary box if you like. Trucker, I'll let you go. I know you're a busy boy. Look forward to chatting with you later in the week.
Thank you, Zach.
Off to dinner and bed, and then an ungodly hour alarm for our president, Joe Baldwin. Thank you to Adam Johnson, Caleb Dawson, and also Sean Hart for sticking around here, guys. I do appreciate it. Fair bit to sift our way through on a Monday night post-race show, especially when it's 90 minutes, not the usual 60. Adam Johnson, I think I'll start with you because you had a top 10 in your fingertips, in your grasp, and then unfortunately Skyline bit you.
Yeah, mate. So I came in from the 12-hour with a lot of confidence in the car and setup. But I did, so it was very planted across the top, and I knew I could really push it. But we knew that once it hit 10 litres of fuel, it started getting a bit tail happy again. And it bit me on that last lap. Yep. Just went around. I was going hard because I was under pressure to keep me spot because it's a bit slow down the straight. So if I get in the draft, I might lose a spot into the chase. So I was pushing and just lost it and lost 7th place, which I was very happy with.
I was going to say you ended up being able to limp it across the line in 16th, but the car was, you were 40 seconds slower than usual getting home on that. So I could only assume that there was a fair bit of damage sustained in the crunch.
I don't it didn't look great, but the damage wasn't the killer. It was that I was sideways at Skyline and I just had to wait for 10 cars.
Yep.
Because there was just nowhere to get out of the way, or otherwise they would have just slammed right into me.
That's fair.
Which at that point, you just kills you when you're just waiting for 10 cars to come through and you just looking at it sitting there for 30 seconds, just counting them through.
Yeah, absolutely. Daniel Piper actually just jumping into our Discord server to thank David Kirby for having someone to chase tonight. Speaking of up until that point, what'd you make of the race? What'd you make of the positional battle, strategy, tyre wear, all those usuals?
I think I stuffed up a bit, and I did the big stop first and didn't take tyres, so I was running on the same set the whole time, which I was down to 55% on the front right. So I should have taken tyres early. But it was a bit sluggish. You were sliding a bit at the end, but it wasn't too bad. And I was still keeping the times up. You just had to work it a bit harder. I think the car was pretty good. It just, I knew that there was no straight line speed in it. We never had it across the 12 hours.
I'm going to come back to you in a moment. Just bring in Caleb Dawson and Sean Hart at this point in time. Firstly, Sean, well done on the win, and Caleb, well done on the fastest lap of the race, late in the piece as well. What about the pressure you two applied to one another throughout most of the opening half of the race? I want to ask you guys, because Adam's comments there differ to what we heard from David Kirby and Michael Angus with regards to tyre wear. And that might just come down to car of choice on the night. The Porsches might have been chewing the rubber a little bit more than the Ferraris per se, but I want to get your take on it.
You know, the first few laps before the pit stop was wow. It was kind of hectic. I was trying to get past, but Sean defended very well. I chose to get tyres at the first pit stop, try to get the undercut, which happened, but of course that led to Sean being able to run longer in the lower fuel and take less fuel in the second pit stop, and clearly wasn't the strategy to go for. Had a bit of a battle with third as well, and I can't seem to remember who was third. But
I was going to say you got caught behind David Kirby, serving as a bit of a roadblock for you, I think.
Yeah, a little bit. Lost a couple of seconds there, but that's racing for you. And Sean did very well for the strategy and very well in the race, actually.
I'll come back to you blokes in just a moment. You specifically, Caleb. I'll come back and have a bit more of a chat about your race. Sean, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think in the first stint, towards the end before the first pit stop, Caleb and I went side by side all the way from the chase. I didn't think it was to the top of Mountain Straight, so that was awesome, really good racecraft. I thought after the first stop that it was all over. When I exited the pits, Caleb was 5 seconds down the road, and I thought maybe he just had better pace So the only thing I had left to do was to try and stay with him and hope it all shook out on the amount of fuel I had to take in the next stop. So, which, yeah, after the second pit stop when I came out 3 seconds ahead, I was pretty wrapped.
Absolutely. Coming back to you in a moment as well to finish with Adam Johnson. So it's interesting there, the variance in tyre wear and other things. Unfortunately, the Porsches are known for that squirrely rear end. The reality of the matter is, though, you had great pace. One incident at the very end that we have already documented, that put pay to a top 10 result, mate. However, if we focus on the positives, there are a lot to come out of tonight that'll hopefully build the confidence for the remaining 4 weeks in the run of the checkered flag.
Oh, 100%. And like I coming out of the 12-hour, having the win in like the split 10, one of the low ones, like I knew I had a fast car. But then as soon as I got in the server here and people are doing 4s, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be at the pointy end. But yeah, I was very happy with the car, and yeah, just like keeping it together for the whole race was what I needed to do. Yep.
And for 90 minutes, yes, but unfortunately we went 91. And that is what brought you undone there. In saying all of that, though, mate, great result tonight. Your thoughts, because there were a lot that weren't able to recover from a crash and get the checkered flag, and the attrition rate was high, but that's not necessarily surprising considering that it is Mount Panorama. Your thoughts on Magello briefly before I let you go?
So I did the race there in the supercars a couple of weeks ago. That's like the first time I'd ever driven there. Bit of a challenge, but I think it should be fun. I don't think I'm going to be very fast in it, but it'll be fun.
It will be indeed, and looking forward to it immensely. And outside of GT3, what keeps you busy as far as sim racing is concerned? Anything else you dabble in?
Do the up and comers tomorrow night, and then try the GT1s. I'm not good at the GT1s, but we have a crack. And then
and that's what it's all about, mate. That's what it's all about.
Oh, 100%. Try and not get DQ'd in the GT1s. That's always difficult. With Matto's ridiculous incident points counts.
I hope Matto's still tuning in and heard that, by the way.
Oh, he laughs at me every race we do.
He would.
And then doing the Australasian NASCAR E-Series, the trucks on the Fridays.
Excellent. And I was going to say the trucks turned it on at the best of times, but we're still getting over the cup finish this morning in the real world, let alone anything that's happening in the sim world. Hey, Adam, I appreciate you hanging around and give us your time, mate. Unlucky at the end there, but no, solid pace and a solid run. Apart from that, and looking forward to seeing how you go next week.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
I got sidetracked by Jared Knight asking the question, which way does Magello go? Well, it goes straight down to a right-hander at the end of the main straight. So I would assume that means clockwise. And you could do the rest of the research there, or just watch a highlight reel from a MotoGP race of bygone years as well. Caleb Dawson and Sean Hart. Relentless pressure from you blokes in the opening stint there. I think it might have been you that made a slight mistake, Sean, that got Caleb a little bit excited about an overtaking opportunity. Then all of a sudden, the elbows are out, the gloves are off, and you two are duking it out for the race lead in the 25th minute. And you're inviting Michael Angus, and I reneged to remember who else it was that was with him battling for position at the time. You invited them back into the fight.
Yeah, 100%. The amount of pressure I was under, just driving on the limit. Just to keep Caleb behind me, and the slightest error just brought him right up onto the back of me. I had to do everything I could to try and keep him behind.
And Caleb, obviously, a little bit of clear air would have got a long way at that point of the race when we look at the results now. But it was a kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't moment. There was enough invitation there offered by Sean to invite you to overtake and take the lead away from him. But at the same time, you can always save a few milliliters of juice while you're tucked in behind him.
Yeah, no doubt. I felt I had a little bit more pace over him in the first stint. I was like, okay, I could stay behind. He made a mistake. I'm like, oh, come on, I have to keep these blokes behind me, off my tail. Went for a chance, didn't turn out, but awesome, clean racing, and in the end, just didn't have enough pace to get in front of him in the end. But awesome, clean racing the whole way.
And clearly, as evident by 7 in the top 10, Ferrari's the go-to car in GT3 at the moment. But have you guys dabbled in any of the other cars and done a little bit of research into what else might work for you if you were to change manufacturers for the next season of racing?
I've dabbled in the Mercedes. Very sketchy, I felt, over the top, but a rocket down the straights. That's what I found when we did
there were a
12
couple
hours.
of Mercs that come unstuck tonight, so I reckon the drivers of those Mercs, including Bradley Curtin, would probably agree with you.
Yeah, no doubt, and it's something that we found in the 12 hours is just down the straights. Having the extra power would have been amazing, but I think for little endurance races like this, the Ferrari's the safer bet. Go faster over the top, keep it clean, and try and keep them behind you.
Indeed, and for you, sorry, I just lost track of who was talking to me there. Was that you, Sean?
No, it was me, Caleb.
No, it was Caleb. It was Caleb. Sorry, I was dead set looking at result sheets. I wasn't looking at which light was lit up in Discord. My apologies. So I'll go from Caleb to Sean, and I guess the same question, mate. What are you dabbling in outside of GT3, and what other manufacturers have you had a crack at within the GT3 ranks?
Yeah, occasionally I'll run the Mercedes as well. But I've always found the Ferrari just to be better suited to mount Panorama.
Yeah.
So right from early days, each new Ferrari they bring out, I've purchased it specifically to run it for the Bathurst 12-hour.
Yep. It's hard though, isn't it, when you're looking at this championship at 10 rounds, 10 completely different racetracks. I mean, we've got the Pro Split as well, which we're covering most of the championship of at the moment. We'll have the first race from you blokes in the AM Split next week at Magellan, then we'll go to the Pro Split. And BMW is very well represented there at the moment, not so here. So different horses for courses, isn't it? You've got to find something that suits not only your driving style and what you like, but also a general overall performer across 10 weeks and 10 completely different racetracks and 3 different race formats.
Yeah, no doubt that I found the GT class, the BMW seems to be the go-to as of late, except for a select few tracks, and clearly Bathurst was one of them. I find the BMW a little boring for my taste. I love the sounds and the racecraft of the Ferrari and the Mercedes better, but clearly the BMW is a much preferred car.
All right, I've been talking on long enough here that Adam Lavis may well have some updated championship standings for us, so stand by here, guys. Adam, how are we with that, please?
I only got AM.
Okay, let's have a look at them because I'm talking to AM blokes, so that's more important than anything else at the moment. Let's have a look. 201 for Philip Butler, who's taking the championship lead tonight. 190 for Scott Wooden. William Yarwood was absent tonight, 160. Adam Chiplin, 157. Chris Mack, 151. That's Chris McDonald, of course. Ben Lavender, 137. 132 for Daniel Piper. Adam Hennessy, 131. 119 for Jordan Ferguson. Jake Karlovsky, 116. Then you've got to get, we've got to go a long way down to find you two blokes. So you're not even showing in the top 20 on our run sheet here. So am I to assume that you two are relatively spring chickens as far as the GSRC is concerned? Is that right?
I certainly am. I've done a couple races. I forget what I've done a couple races in, but this is my first GT3 race with GSRC. Yep. I've only been signed up for a couple of months, so I just thought I'd pop in and see what I can do. I had the practice behind me, and yeah.
All right, well, there's a little bit of an update that's happened just as I've thrown the door open for you guys to have a chat. Sean's now jumped up into 11th and Caleb up into 17th on the points score there. That's all been rectified thanks to Adam Lavis. So you're not outside the top 20 at all. You're firmly in there, which is good. But obviously fresh arrivals mean that we're looking at a long road back as far as any championship aspirations are concerned. So I guess the next question is, how do you use the next 4 weeks to net a reasonable, respectable result for half a campaign per se, to then set yourself up to have a full crack at GT3 next season if you stick around?
Just keep winning. Or keep coming second.
Just
keep getting your results.
I'd typically be running the supercar series. That's my bread and butter. I generally couldn't make this series, so I've rocked up to just as a opportunistic sort of situation. So I may not be back.
A one-hit wonder, and what a one-hit it was. 43 laps, victory, 2.5 for the winning margin. Well done. Tick the box, off you go. If you were to turn up to Magello, though, have you had a crack at the circuit? Do you like it?
Yeah, it's always good when they add new tracks, because nobody knows sort of what they're getting into. So it adds a bit of liveliness to everything. People are just working it out for the first time, which gives you potentially opportunities that wouldn't otherwise exist at other circuits. So it's always good fun to have something new.
Indeed. And Caleb, I guess for you, the same question. You seem a little bit more committed here. Sean has admitted to being a cameo gate crasher. But for you, Magello, what do you make of the circuit?
I love the circuit. I love watching the bikes go around it. I'm a big MotoGP fan.
Well done.
I've raced at F3. F3 is great around that track. But haven't actually dabbled with the GT cars there yet.
All right, might be a busy week for a few of you blokes on the sim rig, particularly as you heard or saw there in the comments, Jared Knight, still wondering what way it goes. So I dare say he's got a bit of learning and education to be sought through the course of the next 7 days. I don't think he'll be alone though either. Gentlemen, well done, great show tonight. I guess the highlight being that Elbows out racing in the opening stint. We were a little bit surprised by how feisty it was in the early stages. And at one point, one of you took the initiative to, straighten things up a little bit, or otherwise run the risk of getting caught in a battle with the two blokes that were oncoming behind you. But as soon as you put your eyes and focus back on the task at hand, eyes forward, as Paul Nichols used to always call it, you made hay while the sun shined, and were able to put that buffer back in place on David Kirby, etc. So well done on that. Congratulations, 1 and 2 across the line tonight, and thanks for being good sports and sticking around and having a chat to us and waiting so long to do so.
That's all good. Thanks for that.
Yeah, appreciate it. Take care.
And Kirby openly admitting that they were never a threat, being as slow as they were. That being said, if that's slow, it doesn't say much for the behind Kirby, because 204s, 205s, and everybody else was, well, what were we? You had 2 seconds on Daniel Piper. Michael had 17 seconds on you. And then Daniel had 16 on Adam Holland. So I think you had most of the pack covered, mate. Don't sell yourself too short. Thanks to Sean Hart. Thanks to Caleb Dawson. Thanks to everybody else that's dropped in for a chat post-race here as well. Nice to catch up with Kirby and Angus, actually, after catching up with them, or first being introduced to them, actually, over on our old friends at Simshed Broadcasting back in the day, and the Supercar and Super2 series that JP used to run. And g'day to JP if he's tuning in. Hope he's doing well. We're done on a Monday night, and I will bring you up to speed with the GT3 Pro standings this time next week when we bring you round 7 of the championship. A big thanks to everybody that makes it possible for us to do what we do here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Couldn't do it without Waste Options, Sprite and Cider, Player One Sim, Gear Lobesy Racing, M-Wave Australia, and Flash Graphics. Huge thanks to all of those people for getting on board with the club, sticking around, continuing to support it, because put simply, broadcast and so many other things within the club don't happen without their ongoing input and support. Let's have a look at what's coming your way. As far as week 6 of term 1 of 2024 is concerned, non-broadcast Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll be back with you Thursday night. The up-and-comers get us underway tomorrow night for Lobesy Racing from the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit and the FIA Formula 4s. No, come on. put them on the Nordschleifer. Why not? We're not broadcasting it. 7:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and then of course under Brands Hatch for 9:15 Eastern start for the GT1 Civil War 6th round of that championship. 35 minutes. The equation there. The Toyota Rally 6 Series on Wednesday night from Silverstone. That's I believe current modern day spec Silverstone. 2x sprint races there. Kickoff 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. Okayama, the international circuit in Japan, as we go Oriental for GT4. 2 sprint races there on Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Sprint racing back on Thursday night as well, right across the board. You get more bang for your buck this week than most others. We've got 3 sprint races for Formula V for Sprayton Soda, as per usual. Virginia International Raceway, the venue, I'm told it's the full circuit as well. So some very long laps right there. And then we get stuck into, I've got 2 blokes that have jumped back into the broadcast green room who I'll get in here as soon as we're off air, Kirby and Angus. That'll be good to have a chat with them. Then, of course, we're off to Oran Park in Narellan in West Sydney for the 6th round of the Sprayton Cider Porsche Cup Thursday night motorsport. 2 sprint races there. Invert top 10 second race. You bloody beauty. 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So that's what Thursday night looks like for you on February 29. Big day of Test cricket on Thursday. You can get up and watch the Kiwis and Aussies in action from the Basin Reserve in Wellington, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight. 9 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and then come and join us for some sim racing that night. Friday, the Super Formula from Magello for GSRC Wings and selects 3 sprint races there. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time is when we get that one underway. Nick Fodiatis, of course, looking after that series this season. Didn't get a chance to chat to him about that tonight. He saw himself out of the commentary box before the end of GT3. Saturday night, I don't know whose idea this was, Audi 90 GTO from Mount Panorama Bathurst for 32 laps for mountain men. Sunday, to be confirmed, where the V8 Supercar Oval Series will be heading to. And the race start is 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Pete Matson will drop those details into club servers later in the week. Week 7 gets underway next Monday night, 7:50 Eastern Daylight Time, on air a couple of minutes before that for the Super 2s and most likely Super 3s from Barber Motorsport Park, 25 minutes. The agenda there. And then, of course, on to Magello and a brand new circuit to play with. Brand new battlefield, brand new playground for Waste Options GT3. AM split first, a pro split second up, and it's a 2 sprint race format equation evening, and looking forward to that immensely. 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time. So it's fresh off a 90-minute affair tonight, 1/8 race distance of the round-the-clock classic that we had over the weekend in the virtual world and the weekend prior in the real world. We get stuck into something a little bit more conventional for Monday night with some short, sharp, snappy sprint racing there. Next Monday night. Looking forward to that immensely. Club merch, gsrcmerch.myshopify.com or merch.tgsrci.com is where you need to go. As I said, New Year, birthdays, Australia Day, all those things are come and gone, even Valentine's Day, but still plenty of reasons and excuses to get around this, ladies and gentlemen. Sink your teeth into some of the merch, buy it for some loved ones. Easter's just around the corner. They might be allergic to chocolate. I don't know. At gsrcmerch.myshopify.com is where you go for club merch, examples of which can be seen on the left and right hand side of your screen at the moment. The Enduros aren't too far away either. For those that enjoyed their GT3 racing tonight, we'll also have GTP in this equation, in this series of racing. It's a full calendar, semester 1 and semester 2. Watkins Glen first up, the 10th of March. I think I've been drafted in to cover that one for Liam Banks. Suzuka follows, then Laguna Seca, Le Mans and Motorsport to take us through the opening half of the year. And some big tracks follow. Spa, Fuji, Magello, Nordschleifer. There we go. 27th of October. I won't be here. Actually, that should be the 26th because it's not. We won't be racing on the Monday night. We'll be doing some GT3 racing, but that's another story. And then on to the Red Bull Ring and then on to Road America. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Actually, no, my apologies. I got that wrong. 26th is a Saturday. For some reason, I've got 26th in my head, and I'm not sure why. Might be posty mark.
You're not calculated the leap year.
No, I haven't. No, I actually overcalculated. I've given it 3 days.
Did you go 111 years back with 112?
Yeah, exactly. We'll be back there at the Nordschleifer on the 27th of October. I'm just trying to remember why I had the 26th in my head. Someone's told me the Postie Bike Grand Prix is the 26th, but it can't be. It'll have to be the 27th. The Red Bull Ring in November, and then, of course, Road America on the 8th of December. So looking forward to that. So plenty to look forward to if you like your endurance racing. But here on a Monday night, we're back to sprint racing next week. Hope you enjoyed Raced Options, GT3, and Player One Sim Gear Super 3 on a Monday night on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. The last one of February, the last one technically of summer, although we'll be sweating like, in the proverbial until probably mid-April. If you're living in southeast, even North Queensland, as Kirby will attest to. So the summer feel will stick around for a while yet, even though we'll technically get into autumn. Hope you enjoyed it, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for coming along for the ride. We look forward to your company again on Thursday night. For now, though, on behalf of Adam Lavis and the rest of the GSRC broadcast commentary and production team here from the virtual Mount Panorama, where we've had quite an interesting, an eventful 90 minutes of GT3. It's bye for now. Thanks for coming along for the ride, and well done to Sean Hart on victory here over Caleb Dawson in a Ferrari-dominated top 10. We'll see you Thursday. Have a great evening, everybody. Bye for now.